You guys get them likes up. Get them likes up. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Let me introduce the crew. We got Rilla. We got Sam, Trill,
Yo,
and me myself from Lapeef JI. Welcome to King Talk. How you gentlemen doing?
Good,
Amazing.
good. The business is. Yo, you recovered, bro? You good?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean, you know I'm good, man. The only thing I was doing for my birthday was working.
I know.
Working, man. I worked on my birthday, and it's just another day. Well, not just another day, but it's another day.
That's how we look at it.
Working, yeah.
Yep. You're right.
Before we get this show started, man, I want to shout out my guy London King for sending this tee that I have on right there, man. Definitely appreciate it. Really, he also sent you one as well, so I'm definitely going to be giving that to you, man. So thank you, London, for the merch. And you guys are tuning in, welcome. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button while you at it. We're going to dive right into our first topic. So I would say within the past couple of days, I've been having some conversations. And one of the conversations that I was having was that women overtalk each other, but in the presence of a man, if a woman overtalks, she's looked at as being masculine. There was also a question as to why is it that when a man overtalks a woman, it's not disrespectful, but when a woman overtalks a man, it's disrespectful. So I want to really have this conversation because across the world, I feel like a lot of women overtalk men. And we're going to talk about this. So the first topic of the day is you know what? I don't know what the hell happened there. Anyways, the first topic of the day is, are women allowed to overtalk men? Are women ever allowed to overtalk a man? I'm going to start with you, Shan. I forgot to hit the play button on the topics.
Look, it is complete coincidence that I'm wearing this shirt today. Complete coincidence that I'm wearing "Do Not Overtalk Me, Don't Overtalk Me" t-shirt, and then we're actually talking about women overtalking men. So that's just a coinky dinky. Are women allowed? Well, I don't like the word allowed. Let's say should women overtalk men? Listen, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So men speak Martian, women speak Venetian. We have two completely different languages. We talk totally different. When I was deployed in the military during was commonly known as Black Hawk Down, I did a mission on the off the island of Kismayo. I had to run communication, and the Nigerian army was our perimeter security, right? So it was a United Nations mission. I was the only American from the American military there, and without getting into details on the mission, the Nigerians was running perimeter security, and they would have conversations with each other, and the way the Nigerians spoke, it sounded like they were yelling at each other. And I was young. I was a young soldier, and it made no sense to me. And so every time that they talked to each other, it was like, and they were just at the top of their voice, and they were hollering at each other and yelling. And I'd sit back and I'd be like, damn, why are they beefing with each other? Like, why is these soldiers within their own military beefing with each other? This is just me as a U.S. soldier standing at a distance watching and talking. Like the way we talk right here, they weren't talking like that. And so one day I went to their captain and I asked him, I said, hey, man, why are your soldiers always yelling at each other? Why are they always fighting? And he said, oh, you don't understand how we get down in Nigeria. You don't understand how men talk in Nigeria. See, what you think is fighting, we just consider it passion. That's how we talk in Nigeria. Nigerian soldiers, the way we speak to each other in our entire country, because I hadn't visited the country of Nigeria before. That's the way we talk. You just don't understand it because the way your culture is in America, you guys talk a little bit more cool, more calm. You guys are a little bit more smoother and collective. But the way we speak to each other from you looks like we're arguing, but from us, it's everyday conversations. And it was at that point that I realized that it depends on perspective of where you're from to understand how somebody communicates. So when you ask me, JR, should women overtalk men in conversations? The problem is men don't really understand how women speak, and women don't understand how men speak. But women need to really understand how men speak, because just like those Nigerians were extremely passionate in the way they're speaking, women have to understand that men, we get our ego and our power comes in our voice. And when women step up and buck up and get deeper in their voice and get all up in a man's face, or they want to just shut a man down or step on his sentence, they want to interrupt like women often do. They don't realize that you are actually, you basically trying to challenge me, and you shouldn't be challenging no man in a conversation at any point, whether it's an argument, whether you guys are just trying to figure out which way to go, left or right. If you're trying to just figure out what to eat, women oftentimes, and I don't know where this transition happened over the last couple of decades, where women think for some odd reason that they can just get loud and speak like men when they're not from Mars. They don't speak Martian. You guys aren't from Mars like we are. And so in my personal opinion, I believe that oftentimes when women try to speak like men, they're trying to be masculine like men. They're trying to be tough like men. They're trying to be assertive and in charge like men. And that tends to not work with men. Now, man to man, it's a different conversation. But women to man, I would prefer that women be feminine at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And that, therefore, if a woman is speaking in her feminine capacity, she can still get her message across to me. In fact, she'll get her message across to me faster and more direct if she was speaking to me with a more calm, feminine tone, even though I may be loud and masculine. I can still hear that. I can hear that better than I can hear a woman trying to buck up with me as if I'm hollering at one of my boys. So I would prefer, me personally, and I would suggest to all women to tone it down when speaking to men. Don't try to get loud like me. Don't try to overtalk me. Don't try to shut me down. It's not going to work. There's a physical component in that, whether you know it or not. It's not all intellectual and just audible. There's a physical component in that you're not going to win. So relax. But that's just my opinion.
Shane, I want to kind of piggyback on that a little bit, and I want to ask you a follow-up question. So just to get a better understanding, it doesn't matter the situation, the scenario. A woman should never overtalk a man.
No, man. Listen, have you guys ever watched it? Okay, so have you ever watched, JR, or anybody, some of the police videos? You know, we get, you know, everybody got a cell phone now. So we're recording all the interactions out there in the street and videos go viral. Have you guys ever watched a video where maybe a police officer is trying to talk to somebody, or maybe somebody's trying to de-escalate a situation, and then you get this woman who interjects herself into a situation? Maybe it's because it's her son or her daughter that's involved with the police or whatever the situation is. And that woman's voice, what you doing, rah, just rah, rah, and it just turns into, and it's, and you, what you really want to do is say, shut the up. You're making you're making a bad situation worse. Women, I've been saying this for years. Women, you guys tend to take a bad situation, and because you're trying to be masculine or assertive or overtalk somebody, you make it worse. You turn a bad situation and make it worse simply because you in here trying to buck up like us. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a situation of life and death. I don't care if it's an argument. I don't care if you guys are being cool with each other or just general conversation. Women should rest in that femininity at all times and speak as such. And therefore, you'll get a whole lot more accomplished than you think you will versus yelling and over talking people, especially men. Now, if women do that to each other, I think that's one of the reasons why women don't keep friendships longer than 6 months. They always rotating their friends. Women don't really have too many day ones. They always, because they're always yelling and hollering at each other. They can't get their message across to each other, much less to a man, especially when you're trying to overtalk somebody. So at all times, bro.
I hear that. Trill, we're talking about women overtalking men. Should it ever happen? Why are they looked at to be masculine when they are doing that? Let's talk about it.
Hell no, it should never happen. But again, that's just bad etiquette all the way around. I don't really think it has much to do with gender. I mean, if we having a conversation, whether it's men on men or whether it's women on men, nobody should be over talking nobody. Like, you talking loud or trying to out talk somebody is not going to make your point more valid. You know what I'm saying? So even, you know, amongst men, that shouldn't happen, but definitely women, in regards to, like, women need to remain in their feminine frame. It's just period. Like, in a lot of women, again, because society coddles them so much, you know, they are able to get away with a lot in terms of expression. I remember reading an article of them saying, like, black men is the, like, white people of black people. Well, in that case, in terms of expression, black women are the white people of black people in terms of that. They can say what they want. They can get loud. They can put their finger in your face while they pointing, get loud, push you, do all kind of, you know what I'm saying? And if you raise your voice 2 octaves, don't yell at me. And it's just accepted. And, you know, analogy for that is like sports. You know, if you got a white athlete on the sideline throwing his helmet and, you know, ranting and raving, oh no, that's just passion. But when it's a black dude doing it, then it's oh, he's dangerous. He a threat to the team. He a team divider. So the you know, to equate that to men and women get to get away with that, right? And it's not seen as aggressive. But if a man raises his voice even a half an octave, everybody is on the edge of their seat, like, oh Lord, you about to hit her, you about to put hands on her. So why is it not, you know, us expressing ourselves passionately on one end the same way you do? But in terms of the question, man, nobody should be out talking nobody. It's, you know, it's a thing said to, you know, in terms of etiquette, like people need to have etiquette. You know, just like me, like you'll never hear me raising my voice for what? I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and you're gonna take it however you want to take it. Now, if you're trying to cut me off, then that's the end of the conversation. I'm not about to go back and forth with you. I'm not about to get loud with you. We're not about to do that. My voice is gonna be just how it is right now, and that's just having etiquette. And a lot of women don't have etiquette, and I hate the way that was poised, because it's like, okay, you know, women amongst each other, we able to out talk ourselves, but when we out talk y'all, it's a problem. No, you out talking yourselves is wrong too. So you out talking us is wrong as well. It's just like, you know, say for instance, like we in the neighborhood, and it's like, okay, well, you know, in my neighborhood, we handle disagreement with, you know, fighting and shooting. So when I get to the corporate world, I should be able to handle disagreements with fighting and shooting. No, it's not. It's a thing to be said about the environment you're in, about again, just etiquette and how you handle yourself. It shouldn't be handled with fighting and shooting in the neighborhood. It's wrong there. So it should be wrong in the corporate world. It's the same thing with that. Don't out talk nobody, man. You talking loud does not make your point more right. And I think a lot of women don't, you know, understand that concept, in my opinion.
Trey, I want to ask you a follow-up question too, because I think I hear what you guys are saying, but I think that they need to really understand what's going on. So say you're in a situation, right, where it's you know, 3 men, 2 women, and the woman decides to get loud. She's over talking. What's exactly going on through your head? You don't know this person at all, but what's going on through your head at that very moment when you see her constantly over talking when a man is present and when he's speaking? It doesn't matter if the man's making sense or not. When that woman's over talking, what is going on through your head? And same thing for you too, Shan. You can follow up with him.
Like what's going through my head is that's a woman being a woman. That's just what it is. Like, it's, you know, is it wrong? Sure. But that's a woman being a woman. And they get to get away with certain things that we just cannot. It's wrong, obviously. But, you know, her trying to out talk that man, or, you know, trying to prove that she's just as masculine as he is ridiculous. But that's the
say that again
that we live in. You know what I'm saying?
Say that statement again.
Huh?
I said, say that statement again, what you just said.
Yeah, no, I say her trying to like meet him as far as masculinity, or like prove that she's on the same level is just ridiculous. But again, society has created an environment that coddles women and makes them feel like they are on the same level in terms of masculinity. Just because, say for instance, she may make as much money as most men do, or more money than men do. So now she feels empowered or feels entitled to be able to, you know what I'm saying, like try to match your masculinity, which is the most unattractive thing in the world. And I don't know if women really realize that, because they so busy trying to be equal and so busy trying to be right. And instead of just resting in their femininity, you know, shout out to April Mason, but you know, what she says about femininity is exactly right. Like, you can get whatever you want and still remain in your femininity. You don't have to try to meet that man at a masculine level to try to, no, you can be as soft and subtle and still say what you got to say, get your point out. You want to argue? We're not doing that. I'm gonna remain in my feminine frame. And that's what's attractive to men. So, you know, again, any woman listening to this, stop doing that, bro. Like, you are making yourself like the least attractive woman in the room when you do that. Like, we hate that. Just remain who you is, because most men is not going to be talking loud to a woman anyway. We ain't gonna be raising our voice to a woman in terms of like arguments, unless it's like, you know, like a girl or something and we like super passionate. But like, as far as like a regular conversation, like you talking about, man, it's not raising our voice for what? No, I'm gonna say my point, and then whatever. If you want to get loud, you want to, you know, Z snap and roll your neck, and you can do all that you want to. Huh? Don't change what I said, okay? Yeah, I said what I said, and we just gonna keep it pushing. But you know, I say that to say, like, raising your voice is unnecessary. But you know, a lot of women feel like, you know, the louder they talk, the righter they are, and that's ridiculous to me.
Okay, Chicago Rella, should a woman ever overtalk a man?
Man, absolutely. No, I'm just playing, man.
I said, man, you gonna mess this up. You got to hop off the train now, man.
They was about to kill bro in these comments.
Yeah, I know they finna come for it in the comments. Man, absolutely not, bro. Like, listen, we hold equal value in God's eyes.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought
we are
you were
not
still
equal.
crossing over. I'm about to say, damn, really?
No. And I want the ladies to hear me clear. I want the ladies to hear me clear.
Oh, he turned his head to the right.
Hold equal value in the eyes of the Creator, in the eyes of God. We are not equal. And Shan hit it spot on. Like, you know, we do talk different languages. It's interesting because somebody was you know, kind of like I had a episode on one of the shows, and somebody hit me up and was like, yo, fam, you can't match their energy like that. And I had to go back and watch that tape, and I was like, damn, I kind of was matching, right? Like I was going like, because that's what women do, the whole, like, you know, Dino from Flintstone, like women do that. And that's cool when they do it amongst each other. I don't know how it all pans. I don't know how it works out. You know, I grew up with women. You know, I seen my sisters do it. I seen, you know, my mom, my aunt do it. The women on the block do it. All that's cool, man. You know what's crazy though? I've never seen my grandma and my granddad. I've never seen them argue. I've never seen my grandma raise her voice at my granddad. And I think, and to be specific, I know Black women gonna feel a certain way. But I honestly do believe this is a thing primarily amongst Black women, where they feel like they have to overcompensate and overtalk men. Again, I work in a part of Chicago in the south suburbs. It's literally a lily white neighborhood where it's 1% Black. I'm the only person that looks like me in my location. And you see people come in there all the time, and those women they have conversations, man. They have conversations, and even with I'm pretty sure they may have arguments at home. I'm not on the inside. I'm not trying to be like I'm a fly on the wall or whatever. I just watch mannerisms, and being in this space for the last 9-10 months, going on 10 months now, it's just certain things that I pay attention to a little bit more now. And so, sisters, when brothers are telling y'all certain things, man, you can't keep getting defensive. You got to pay attention because what they're saying is happening. Nobody's just pulling this out they rectum. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like when men talk about women over talking, like, even if you watch Kevin saying, how many times you can't overtalk me, you can't overtalk me, you can't overtalk me, you overtalk me, you can't overtalk me. Like, that's basic to what Trill was saying. That's basic etiquette. But I think it comes from the fact of two things. I think it's a reflection of the modern woman. It's a reflection of the modern woman. And it also comes from the fact that she feels like she got to overcompensate and adjust and be masculine and match masculine energy. The thing of it is, and Trill, I'm gonna push back a little bit, because when men overtalk each other, again, if we were all in the barbershop and we were having the greatest NBA player debate off rip, I'm gonna get passionate, right? So I'm gonna get passionate. Shan from LA, so he may come in with the Magic Johnson argument, or you know what I'm saying, JR. I don't know. I'm just saying, cats have different players, and when we come to the table, we in the barbershop, it's gonna be, man, no. Remember the game where woo blah 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 did this, that, and the third, and it's a whole bunch of yelling and back and forth. Here's the thing, though, as men, even as you look in nature,
we hear every word.
But well, here's the other thing, though. We can assess the threat level, right? So we know it's just jaw jacking and slacking, and we just going back and forth. Right. When the woman interjects herself, whoever brought the Shannon, I think you brought the analogy up of a woman making a situation worse. When a woman interjects herself, now you trying to match energy. Oh man, remember the Pittsburgh game where that woman set up there, the brother with the dreads was in his stand, and the woman sitting up there barking, and he's talking past her. He's talking to the guy. She steady want to interject herself in that and got handled like a dude. Ladies, y'all are not built like us. Y'all are not us. You know, you'll get more. You'll get a better response when you remain in your feminine frame. Now, does that mean you have to kowtow, bow down. No, you can remain in frame, be assertive, get your point across, like Trill was saying, all of that. But you're not us. And when you present yourself as aggressive, as masculine, I mean, most men are going to adjust and address accordingly. Period, point blank, in a sense.
I kind of want y'all to paint the picture a little bit, right? So tell me what it looks like when a woman remains in her feminine. Like, how can she get a point across if she wants to, if she so chooses to get a point across and still remain feminine?
Yeah, so listen, you know, Trill was saying how he's even tone, and that's not. I'm a passionate dude. I'm verbal. I'm animated. I'm with my hands. All that, right? I don't need somebody trying to animate and get on my level, right? So what I need her to do, and what my girl does, she just even tone. Okay, babe. Yep, I hear you. And all of that energy that I'm trying to, even if I'm animated and I'm on one and woo 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 blah blah blah. Yeah, babe, you know, I hear you. I understand. And bring the conversation back down. Don't ever try and climb up to where I am, and match me where I'm at, because then it's gonna go off the rails. It's gonna go off the rails. But if you and I get it, people can make the argument, well, the man, he's the leader, he should, and da 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 da. No, men are men. we ain't complicated, we ain't difficult, we ain't hard to understand. It's that woman that remains in frame, and it's what you're looking for is you're looking for that softness. You're looking for that softness. And for her to remain, you know, babe, I understand. And even sometimes conceding the point, like, to come back and win the argument sometimes. Because I can't even tell you, I told my girl, I said, hey man, I'm tired of coming to you and telling you, babe, you was right. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of doing that. Like, she'll say something, I don't listen, you know, or whatever. I have my own way. I want to do things. I want to get it out my way, you know. And there's plenty of times where she's, you know, I go back to her like, babe, you was right on that. I'm tired of doing that. So the woman that remains in her frame is the woman that's still soft. She's still etiquette. Like, she's still etiquette. She's still she's not matching that man's energy. I don't know if that paints it enough. I'll let the other brother speak, but you can't match a man where he's at, fam.
Yeah.
You can't match that energy where he's at.
Yeah. And then also on the flip side, the man can't match the energy as well.
Yep.
So if we do see a woman doing that, then
Yep.
it's just like you just encouraging that behavior. If you don't check that behavior, then that's how it gets out of hand. Any of you guys want to get final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would say, man, first things first is listening to hear instead of listening to respond. I feel like is the main thing, because a lot of women, especially in the heat of an argument, they're not hearing a damn word you're saying at all. She waiting on you to stop talking so she can finish her PowerPoint presentation that she got to try to win the argument. And that shit right there is the most annoying thing in the world, because again, men speak with logic. It's not a lot of emotion involved. Now, don't get me wrong, it's passion involved sometimes, just like Real is talking about, which he's right in terms of his barbershop analogy. But again, it's kept in context. We understand. We ain't trying to, like, you know, cut our boy deep or nothing like that when we talk about basketball or something. Like, with women, when they in the midst of an argument, you don't know what's liable to come out of her mouth. Like, especially when she mad or when she feel like she right. Women will try to chop your knees from under you. And you're just like, damn, do you love me? Why are you talking about, you know what I'm saying? He breaking up, you know, it's deep issues that you'd have told her in the past and all kind of shit. It's just like, what? That ain't even necessary for this argument. Like, what does that have to do with what I just said? Which lets me know that you're not listening to me. So I think the first thing in terms of, you know, a woman remaining in their feminine frame is listening to hear instead of listening to talk. And again, just like Real is saying about raising your voice and all of that, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand women do that, but it's a limit to it. Like, we shouldn't be in the street yelling and screaming. They can hear us three blocks away type of stuff. Or we got kids in the other room. You in here acting a fool in front of these kids. Like, all of that right there all that's gonna do is make a man just mentally check out. You raising your voice, like, okay, cool. My point is this, so whatever I'm saying, you talking past my points, not addressing the logic that I'm presenting to you, and you just going down your PowerPoint list. Okay, cool. You know what? You're right. You got it. And I'm either gonna remove myself from the situation, or I'm gonna check that immediately when you get to raising your wait. No, let's talk respectfully. If you ain't trying to talk respectfully, then we ain't gonna have a conversation right now. Simple and plain. You know what I'm saying? So I think as men, we got to kind of limit that. But with some women, you can't limit it. You can say that. She's gonna just keep going. But in those situations, it's like, oh, you know what? You got it. I'm out. I'm about to leave. Because again, if I get mad, then it's gonna turn into something else. And I don't want to get there. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's just about just being just subtle, man. Subtle, strategic, not necessarily soft spoken, but just like not masculine, like not trying to, again, it's like Rilla saying, you trying to climb that ladder and meet me up there damn near to what like I'm taking it like, damn, like you think you could take me in a fight or something, like you trying to like threaten me that way, like what is you on? No. Stay in a woman's feminine frame, bro. Like we ain't, all that loud talking and just like belligerence. Like I want no parts of that, bro. So that's my idea of it.
Yeah, and I just also want to add to that it doesn't have to be somebody if it's a complete stranger, if they're on the internet, it can be like your sister's boyfriend, whatever the case may be. It's very important that you remain in frame as a woman. You can't what do they call it, like code switch. You can't, because if you do that, you're going to be considered masculine. If you want to go toe and toe, if you're the loudest person in the room, that's masculine, because at no point should your voice be higher than the man's, ever. It doesn't matter if he's a deadbeat dad. It doesn't matter the situation, because what that shows is that you're a woman that want to be masculine. If you can't control yourself in every situation as far as being feminine, then you're not feminine. That's masculine. Am I lying?
No, you spot on, bro. You spot on.
Is my camera still fuzzy?
Yeah.
It's still fuzzy?
Yeah, it is.
And JR, just real quick curveball, because I do see some ladies in the chat, and I know they come over here to hear a man's perspective. And then when we're talking about women issues from a man's perspective, it seems that they and I don't want to take us off the road, but I'm just saying, it seems that they get really defensive, as if they've never seen or don't know anybody that exhibits the behavior that they're talking about, including themselves. So then it becomes questions of, well, y'all talking about this type of person, that ain't me. Or why would you want to be around that type of person? Because I don't even associate with those type of people. I mean, I don't either, but I'm not finna sit up here and act like with the observable eye, I don't see these things happening, or that I've never experienced it. So it goes back to what Trill was saying, is listening to understand and hear. Ladies, again, the brothers are speaking. Nobody on Tuesday is giving up their evenings to sit up here and just berate and rail against black women. The brothers are literally telling y'all they truth, and y'all still not listening to understand or hear, or try and say, you know what, man, the next time I hear what the brothers are saying, the next time I see a sister acting out of pocket, I'm gonna pull her to the side and say, hey sis, you don't have to be, whatever. But that just it JR, sometimes when you get on the platform, man, and people know when you speak, bro, you done had it. It done been one now. Like JR's on one, he on one, right? And so I feel your frustration with that, because you've been in this longer than I have. And it's like, it's crazy to me that people will still act like they're not seeing what I'm seeing, and I'm only 10 months into this. It's I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shan. Your camera looks a lot better, bro.
I didn't even know. I just saw the private chat. I just looked at the private chat you guys said. So hopefully it's better. But and we can move on. But listen, I know one thing's for sure, ladies. You guys need to stop that damn sign language too. Let me tell you something. A loud voice doesn't always necessarily mean hostility. Hostility can come in a lot of different ways. And so, you can be passive aggressive and still be over talking, even though you may be soft with your voice. Hollering and screaming ain't the only way. Lead Attorney did a show last week where he was talking about DaBaby and Danny Lay. And he had this woman up on his show. I don't know if you guys saw it. A lot of people did. He clipped it, I think. And a woman was on there. She was cool, and they had a cool conversation until she got to the end. And then she said something like, "Don't get all in your feelings," some shit like that.
Wow.
And as soon as she said that, Lee exploded, and rightfully so. In my opinion, rightfully so, because there's that sign language, right? Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Need to be right is the worst one, but that shame, insults, and guilt. See, sometimes these women will use that insult, so they'll throw shame at you, and they'll be soft with it and cute, try to be nice and pretty about it. As far as I'm concerned, that's hostility. That's still hostility. Just because you ain't yelling and screaming it and you saying it real cute, you throwing that sign language, y'all need to check that shit. I'm sorry. You need to check that. You guys got to be careful with ladies. You need to be careful with the way you talk to men. It's not just how you talk to them, it's also what you say. So because you out there insulting men, and we ego is big for us. And so it displayed in the lead attorney show last week. When she's out there, he's let her know something, and he was like, all right, cool. And she was getting ready. It was like the end of the conversation. She was getting ready to say goodbye. And then he was like, okay. And don't get all in your feelings, baby. Like who do you think you are? That's a hostile statement to a man, especially from a woman. So not only do you need to be careful of the tone you use, be careful of the words you select when you speak to men. Femininity includes what you say, not just how you say it. So I just want to throw that out there.
And that's a great point, man. That's a great point. I mean, all the expressions and everything, man. All that body language.
It's just wild, though, because they accuse us of the same gaslighting that she just did. She just did that. Yeah. They accuse us of gaslighting. But when you do it, it's like
example. That was the perfect example.
Yeah. It's like don't get in your feelings. Have you ever been arguing with a woman and she getting loud or whatever, and you say, man, relax. Like, why are you so calm down? You ever tried to say that?
Yeah. Like I say, women will drive you to drink and then call you a drunk.
Right.
They'll drive you to drink and then look at you and call you a drunk. That's exactly what
it's a double standard, bro. In terms of expression, that's what I was talking about earlier. It is a double standard in terms of expression. And that's why so many men struggle to communicate with their girl or just don't do it. They're just like, you know what, man, you got it, because they don't want to deal with that same stuff that you accusing me of doing. Just like volume of voice, like your woman will be yelling at you at the top of her lungs. You like, hey, calm down. Don't yell at me. What? I've been talking in even tone for 30 minutes. I've raised my voice a half an octave and it's don't yell at me, but you've been yelling at me for an hour straight. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. No, but good luck to fellas out there dealing with that, though, man.
That example that Chance used was the perfect example, because she didn't raise her voice or anything. And matter of fact, Chance, she specifically said, and don't get all emotional. She didn't say emotional. She said he.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
And he snapped. He thought she said emotional, and he was like, I will absolutely get emotional when the system is not doing right by men. But at one point in that conversation, Shan, if you remember, she's talking to a 20-year divorce attorney, family law attorney, and is trying to tell him about the laws and this, that, and third. And he started speaking. And at one point he said, it sounds like you don't even want to listen. Because she kept trying to overtalk him to make her PowerPoint presentation true. It's the perfect example of what this conversation is about. Ladies, if y'all want to go take a look at that clip, I'm sure it's up on TLA's platform.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin Samuels and TLA. Man, this is a very important topic. So, man, if you are experiencing that sign language, that over talking, you need to check it. You need to check it. You don't have to raise your voice to check it, but you're going to have to start moving a little bit differently, because if she's doing all of that, 9 times out of 10, she don't have respect for you. And it's about time that you get in a position where you are that man, where you are that leader. And it's time for her to know, man. It's time for her to know. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to King Talk. Appreciate all the super chats. Jonathan Verville, Hank, I appreciate it. Kay, I seen you in there again with the super chat. We appreciate all the constant support. We're going to move on to our next topic. which is we're gonna talk about men protecting their home, right? I feel as though a lot of men do not know what it is to protect your home, protect your family, what it looks like to be able to lead a household. So I want to discuss the importance of men knowing how to protect their home. I'm gonna start with you, Rilla.
Yeah, man. When I think about this, I think about. I mean, I often talk about being prophet, priest, and king of your home, right? And not to get too much into religion or whatever, or faith or anything like that, but the prophet hears from the Creator and brings that message to the family. The priest hears the petitions of the family and brings that to the Creator, and then the king gets the instructions from the Creator and leads the family accordingly. And so part of protecting, I know we think about security, I know we think about, providing a nice lifestyle and all those different things, but part of, protecting your family is also knowing how to instruct and guide them. And the only way you could really do that is if you own your purpose, man. I say this all the time, man. I wish, man, I wish I knew then what I know now. I'd be a much better man. I'd be further along. I'd be a much better man, husband, father as a result of that. But I don't want cats to get it twisted. It's more than just getting a gun to protect your home. I mean, I know Anton talks about, even having the mindset where you move your family out of certain situations. Because there's certain people that think, hey, I'm in the hood, ain't no better than this. And it's like, no, part of protecting your family and part of protecting your woman is taking her out of that situation and placing her in a better situation, whether that's in the suburbs, cross country, or, for some people on the north side of Chicago in a high-rise condo, right? But the other thing too, I think, more importantly, I think men have to, within your purpose, you have to be attached to something bigger than you. I think when we look at, even in this content creator space on YouTube and this Black manosphere, right, you see a lot of brothers, and I get the conversations that people have about motives of what people are doing, but if you look at it by and large, a lot of brothers that are creating are attached to something bigger than themselves. And when you're attached to something bigger than yourself, that also provides a compass for you to lead and guide your family, right? And to me, that's a form of protection too. For us to have a constant vision, a constant destination, we know where we're going, we know the end from the beginning. That is protection, because we're not out here wandering around like, what we gonna do, where we gonna go. So it's more than just buying a gun to protect the home or financial stability. It's also being able to spiritually lead, mentally lead, emotionally lead your family as well.
I like that, Rilla. Shan, the importance of men knowing how to protect their home.
So, there's 4 charges for every man on this planet: protect, provide, problem solve, and procreate, right? Protect is always the first one. Even when we use the S, safety and security, safety is always the first one. So if we talk about physical, okay, so when a woman gets married to a man, oftentimes people talk about this whole what you bringing to the table and all this other kind of stuff. What every wife gets when she gets a man? She gets a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365-year bodyguard. You get a 24-hour bodyguard. You know how much that costs in real life if you had to pay a bodyguard? But as your husband, he's charged to die for you, take a bullet for you. Something happens. You hear some sound in the middle of the night and both of y'all are in the bed. Who gets up? Who gets up and says, wait right here? Who gets up and says, wait right here? Let me go check this out. I'll be right back. And women stay there under the covers, waiting for her man to come back to say the coast is all clear. You get a 24 hours, 7-day a week, 365-day a year bodyguard when you get married. So, I had a show on. I did a stream last night. Jonathan Barronville came on, as he does. Shout out to Jonathan.
Yeah, shout out to Jonathan.
And one of my caller, one of the people that was in my chat, she supports me all the time. Her name is Brittany B. Because we did it last night. She said she's getting ready to go do her night shift. She said she had to be at work at 2 o'clock. She just finished a 16-hour shift. So we got into that conversation because I was saying I don't like women working, and I know women don't want to work. And what woman wants to work at 2 o'clock in the morning? You got to be at work at 2 o'clock in the morning. What woman wants to work a graveyard shift? And we started talking about that. She was saying, I don't mind it, but I wish I didn't have to do it. Of course she doesn't want to do it. Jonathan Barronville said, my woman wouldn't even go outside to go to no job past midnight. Shout out to Jonathan Barronville. It's not even an option. That's the protection side. If somebody had to go out, it'd be Jonathan. If somebody had to go out, it'd be your husband. It should be. I get it. Modern dating and modern world and this whole 50-50 nonsense. And, you know, and she's working and you working, and maybe she's working the night shift and you working the day shift, and you cool with that. I ain't cool with that. But I'm old school. I'm 49. That ain't happening over in this household. So when it comes to protection of my home, a lot of people don't understand how to do it. A lot of young men don't get it because all they saw was their moms doing and working whatever they had to do, 3 damn jobs. And so they grow up thinking that their wife is supposed to do that. They grow up thinking, okay, well, my mama was a superwoman. She worked in the middle of the night at the diner. My mother worked. She was a security guard, and she protected the parking lot in the middle of the night. So I guess my wife could do that too. No, son. No, your mother was out of order. She shouldn't have been doing that. And if she had a man at home, you would have been taught and shown that that was wrong. And so that's why we're here to try to level set and correct a lot of these young brothers to say, no, man, that's not how that's supposed to work. This is how protection works. You are the bodyguard of you and your family. And this is one of the reasons why it's important for women to support their men, because he's covering the whole family, you and the children and all your property. So a lot of kids don't understand it today. Hopefully we can try to correct that and get things back to how they should be. But protection is the first charge of all the things that men are supposed to do. Protection. I get it. No bears and lions. Nobody's coming to break into your hut or steal your farm. I get all of that. It's modern. It's modern living. Nevertheless, shit happens. And when it happens, guess who got to be there? The man. So that's my thoughts on that.
Man. You cooking, Shan. Trill, the importance of men knowing how to protect their home.
It's of the utmost importance. And I see protection in like 4 ways. The first one being actual physical protection. I feel like every man should know how to fight. Every man should know how to use a gun or knife or whatever the case may be. That's not saying you be out here thugging and, doing negative things with it, but you should still like know how to protect yourself, protect your family, because again, just like y'all said, you are a 24/7 bodyguard. So if y'all outside, things happen outside, and you got to be able to, again, make sure that y'all get home safe. That's your job. Or if y'all in the crib and somebody breaking in, you need to be able to know how to use that gun if somebody walk in, or use that knife or that bat or whatever the case may be, somebody walk in. So I feel like that's like the first aspect of protection is like physical protection. Second one would be having structure, having a plan. Just like what Rilla was talking about, like that's of the utmost importance. A lot of dudes out here, maybe tough, whatever the case may be, but they don't have structure. They don't have a plan. So you are not protecting your woman or not protecting your family because you don't have finances set up. You don't have life insurance in case something happened to you. And, now your wife and couple kids got to fend for themselves, or you're not, setting up plays to where you making their lives easier, or teaching your kids financial literacy, or teaching your wife financial literacy, or setting up plays. Like I feel like, having a structure, having a plan, always being able to look down the line and see the end goal and make your decisions accordingly. That's protecting your family. And that might be one of the most important, in my opinion. Another one is protecting your woman's peace of mind. That's another way of protecting the family. A lot of dudes, again, feel like just because they got money, I could be out here smashing whatever's moving. Now you bringing bad energy to the crib. This toxic chick is embarrassing your girl online. She's showing up to your job, showing up to your crib. You out here having outside babies, this, that, and the third, and you just expect your woman to just deal with that. No. Part of protecting your family is protecting your woman's peace of mind. That's not, again, every man is not perfect, but we should damn sure be striving to be. And when we do mess up, we should have checks and balances in order to where we can keep that away from the crib. That's a form of protecting your family. And another thing is checking your ego and checking your temper, not making decisions that'll take you away from your family. Because what good is you setting up all of this stuff that I just spoke about in the past 3 or 4 bullet points if you hot tempered and you outside at the club, somebody done bumped you, now you done shot 3 people and got to go do 30 years. Now you can't protect your family. It's about seeing the end game, making decisions that keeps them in mind. That's why, having my daughter, I say, was the best thing to ever happen to me. I used to be real, different than I am now. But having my daughter, it allows me to keep things in perspective. Having a family allows me to keep things in perspective. Yeah, I could go out here and just act a fool if somebody bumped me in the club or step on a shoe or whatever. But again, I got a mortgage that I'm paying for. I got my daughter's tuition that I'm saving for. I got a wife that's at home waiting on me to get back home, right? So I got to check my ego and not crash out in order for me to be there for them. That's part of protecting the family. So, those probably 4 bullet points are my idea of it. But, again, I feel like the main one is just having structure, having a plan. How is this family going to run? We're going to create our own traditions. We're going to, be financially literate. We're going to set up plays that's going to put our kids and the generations after us in a better position than we was in. That's protecting your family to the utmost. And I feel like men should spend way more time focusing on protecting your family, as a whole, in my opinion.
And that was great, Trill. I also want to just add my thoughts about it too. Something that was left out. If you have children, if you have kids, you have to protect their minds. You can't 100% do that, but I'll give you an example. We understand that our life may not have been perfect. We understand the things that wasn't put in place that we would wish to have had in place if we had the opportunity to, right? So one of the conversations that I just had with my son today was, I'm not going to be here. I can wake up and not be here. And I'm never going to give up on you. So as a parent, I have to make sure that you understand everything, that you know as much as possible before I leave this earth. I'm not guaranteed to wake up this morning, so you have to listen to me. You have to understand how to be able to hold down the household, how to be able to protect the women, how to be able to navigate and make decisions. So tomorrow morning, I said, look, for Christmas, what I'm going to get you guys is I'm going to get all my kids a brokerage account. I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to teach him how to be able to keep depositing every bit of money he get, the money he get for Christmas, birthdays, just anything. Take a certain percentage of that and being able to put that in there. I have a daughter as well. And I also told her that I'm going to raise you to be a wife. You're not going to be this person walking around being a boyfriend. I just told her that about 2 or 3 days ago. And us is having these conversations right here. This is why I appreciate them. And I appreciate Shan, Trill, and Rilla, because when we had these conversations, I'm learning as well. I don't know everything. So a lot of times I'm sitting back and I'm taking notes just as well. And the thing that I have learned by being in the space, and even Kevin, shout out to Kevin Samuels, that we have to raise our young women to be wives, to have that mentality that I'm going to be a wife. And I also told her that as me being a father, I'm going to exhibit those behaviors. I'm going to teach you. I can't show you everything, but I'm going to show you from a man's point of view of what it is. So I'm going to talk to her mother and say, look, she got to learn how to keep the house clean. She got to learn how to start cooking, because we have to prepare her to be a wife, not a boyfriend. Like, the goal is not to go out there and have a hot girl summer. I want her going out there knowing that her purpose is to be a wife, to not die alone. So I just wanted to kind of, add that on there too. That is a level of protection as fathers, that we got to make sure that we leaving our kids, that we putting as much as we can possibly into our kids' minds. that we're saying it over and over and over again so that they get it. Because what if you don't wake up the next morning? What have you left your kid with?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to King Talk. These conversations are happening, man. And these are the conversations that we need to be having right now. Because we got a lot of work to do. A whole lot of work.
Yeah.
They always talking about solutions. Here they go. Shit, we just poke 5-10 minutes on solutions. This
Yeah,
is
we
what's
did.
going to improve us as a culture and as a society. So solutions are there for those that say that we just talking and talk. But go ahead, JR.
Appreciate that, Shan. I mean, Trill, my bad.
Mhm.
I want to talk about the mentality of being the best and having to be number one.
Mm.
The mentality of being the best and having to be number one. I was having a few conversations and I heard somebody says that having this mentality pins us against each other. You know, it had me thinking a little bit. I'm kind of unsure how I feel about this, but let's just dive into it. The mentality of being the best and having to be number one. I'm gonna start with you, Shan.
My email signature under my name and my company and all that kind of stuff, the website, my personal email signature is, quote, the best or nothing. I got that from Mercedes-Benz. I like Benzes. I've had quite a few. I got 3 now. The best or nothing is Mercedes-Benz current company slogan, the car company. The best or nothing. That's it. That's the company slogan. And I got it from them years ago and I've used it ever since. I believe that everybody should strive to be the best. I believe that mediocrity is not an option. I understand average. Average is cool. We need average people. We need average people that do average things and think average and move average and act average and look average. Most people are average at best, except the people in my circle. I do not hang around average people.
Right.
I only hang around people who are equivalent to me or better than me. The best or nothing in everything that I do, my businesses, the way I work out, how hard I work to make money, my vocabulary, the way I raise my 2 sons, the women I date. Rewind. The women I date. The best or nothing. The best or nothing. Now I get it. Some people can call that pompous. They say, "Oh man, you think you better than everybody." No, I don't think I'm necessarily better than everybody. I just think I'm better than most. And then if I'm not, challenge me. I have no problem with that because I believe top shelf. When you go out to a bar, I only drink top shelf. I only want to go to the best places. I only want to wear the finest clothes. The clothes that I make is made from the finest material. That's just me. Now, I get it. Some people have a problem with that. Some people don't like that. Some people think that's too much. That's not necessary. That's fine. Then keep that in your circle. You do that over there for you. I live in the best. So I don't know what else to say about that. It's in my signature. Every email I send, everybody sees it. The best or nothing. Mediocrity has no place in my life.
Okay, I hear you. Rilla, the mentality of being the best and having to be number one.
Yeah. So I think for most of us as men, we understand competition. I think about Kanye, Big's brother. Was Big's brother. My big brother was Big's brother. Used to be Dame and Big's brother, who was hip hop brother, who was No ID friend, No ID my mentor. Let the story begin. The audacity of him to even think that he could compete with Jay and be number one. Now look at Kanye. People like to refer to him as crazy. But now look at them, right? You know, I think about Dame Dash. I think about that, like I think about that whole scenario. Think about Dame Dash, the whole scenario, right? It's in our DNA for the most part to compete. I think the other part of this conversation also, though, is understanding your place and your role. Most people don't know, but a lot of times when I talk to JR push me, he encourages me, he challenges me, but I also understand my role. Right. So I'll often tell JR, you know, I'm the mercenary. I'm Pippin, not 2000, not 2021 Pippin, not GMA Michael Strahan interview Pippin. I'm 96, 93 Pippin, playing his role, playing his position. And even when you think about, like, for those of us that hoop or ball or whatever, well, I used to hoop. Just that level of competition, competing to be number one. So, because I want the young bloods to understand too, you know, whatever you desire or aspire to, that's cool. That's cool. So like Shan want the best. Shan want the Maybach. He want to be laid back with the Maybach, or Maybach, right? Shan is in. Shan, are you in LA Garment District?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So because I know a lot of creators here in Chicago make trips over there, and there's some really good textures and fabrics over there.
Mm-hmm. My office is in the middle. I'm on Santee and Olympic Boulevard.
Yeah. And so I celebrate that, man. I really do. I celebrate that. I compete at the level that I'm at. So how does that translate? Really bring it home for Jerome. Okay. In my real everyday life, when we get on those conference calls Monday morning, my location has been open for 2 years. There's 13 locations in my district. We have placed top 5 in my district since we opened. The closest neighbor to me is 2 miles away, and man, I'm drilling because they've been there longer than me. They've been there like 13, 14, 15 years or something like that. Man, I'm on the call. Hey, yeah, we beat you by 3,000. Yeah. We leading in this category again. Yeah. We topped y'all again. You understand what I'm saying? And when we had to adjust some things, and I wound up losing to them for like 2 weeks, man, I was sick in my stomach. Like, real talk, I was sick in my stomach because the competitive nature in me is like, man, you know, like, man, we beasting, and we on our way to number one. And I do understand it's a reflection of my leadership also. And so for the young bloods, man, I agree with Shan. You know, it's not cool to settle for mediocrity, but it's also important that you know your purpose, know who you are. What are you here for? What are you supposed to be doing? And then focus on that with laser precision. Focus on that with laser precision and go at it full throttle. And be the best, be the absolute best. It's not cool to settle for being number 2. It's not cool to settle, you know what I'm saying, for being number 3. You aspire to be number 1. Why? Because it pushes you further. Now, whether you attain that or not, that's one thing. But even just you giving it, you know, and I know there's no moral victories in what we do as men. I know there's no participation trophies, but, you know, giving it your all and never settling for anything less than that number 1 spot, man. That's everything. And that's in our DNA as men.
Hey, Rilla, I was over here and I heard this conversation. It was Kevin Hart that actually mentioned, he was talking about this, and he said that mentality pins us against each other. Do you feel as that's true?
I disagree. I disagree, man. I disagree wholeheartedly, man. I'm gonna tell you something. The time that I spent in Atlanta, and even coming back to the crib, man, it's enough. There's a group of people that know that it's enough for everybody, and they compete, man. What do you think party promoters are doing? Man, you go down there to Atlanta, you think AG is resting on his laurels? You think A Blossom ain't trying to come up with the dopest party? You think Hannah Kang ain't trying to top what she did for Big Beach when she brought the Tigers out? at Compound? You think they ain't in a mix trying to compete one against another, and it ain't no hard feelings. Man, it may be the Super Bowl coming or a big event coming to the city, and we can all get money together. Last year before the pandemic hit, man, I hate that the pandemic hit the city like it did. Man, Chicago was on fire. A lot of y'all don't even know how dope the city was for NBA All-Star Weekend last year. Man, you saw everybody come together. Everybody came together and it was all love. People don't even know there were 8 Black creatives that got sneakers with the 5 top major brands last year. Well, nobody hating on each other, man. Everybody was going to everybody event, supporting this and the third, whoop de whoop, blah blah blah, bigging each other up. Go back and look through some of these folk timelines during that time last year, man. It don't cripple us, it don't hurt us. Now when it's malicious and people are jealous, I could see that. I definitely could see that, but I don't agree. I don't associate in that cipher, JR. You know how I give it up, bro. I'm rooting for everybody Black, man.
Man, I definitely appreciate that, man. The one thing that I want to add to this is that I feel like we all should be striving. We all should be striving to be the best and to be number one. I leave it up to the people to determine who's number one and who's the best, but I just feel like you have to maintain that mindset. I think having a little bit of competition is fun. It's fun. It's just as long as you are having the competition up in the right way. I don't agree with hating, bringing somebody else's down. It's like you want to encourage them. But the one thing that I appreciate, and I had this conversation earlier with a person I met up with, was that like the one thing that I like about you guys is that y'all all are different. It's no competition. I want us all to be able to win. I really do. I told that person that I was watching Trill. I got introduced to Trill, Crew Season. And when I seen them, I said, I want to be just like them guys. In my head, I was saying, I want to be just like them. I like this. I like what they got going on. Like they said, I want to be just like them. Fast forward, I'm sitting right here on the platform with the person that I looked up to as a role model.
Love, bro. I appreciate it. Shit mean a lot to hear that, bro.
Yeah. And so to be able to strive to be the best, it's like I haven't forgotten what I was thinking and what I thought. It's like, man, I want us all up top. I want us all doing things together. I want us all putting out information and being able to help each other. That's what it's all about. But in order for me to be able to pull them up, I got to be my best and vice versa. They got to be their best. If we all striving to be our best, then that's how we all win, because guess what? I'm always keep reaching back. I don't give a damn how tall I get, how far I go. If I'm ahead, guess what? I'm snatching you guys right up and bringing y'all with me. And that's just the way it's going to be. But go ahead, Trill, like the mentality of being the best and having to be number one.
Yeah, man. I'm going to say that to be honest, like as Black men, I think that mentality stems from the fact that we don't really have the luxury of losing. We don't. We are so far behind in terms of like other races from a financial perspective. Again, just it's going just dating back to slavery. We have a big ass gap in terms of the progress that we could have made. Now we done made outrageous strides with the little bit of opportunity that we done had as far as the short time period, but we are still behind. So there is no room for mediocrity. Just like what Shan was saying, like everybody got to be on point, which meaning that striving to be number one. And if enough of us are doing that, then we'll close that gap the way that we should, man. Also, as Black men, like nobody's coming to save us, man. If we lose, it's not like women, in terms of like, okay, if my situation don't go good, I can get me a man, he can make a lot of money, and I can just fall back in that. Man, we don't have that. We are the sole, I guess, factors in terms of what our success is going to be. So that causes us to constantly be, obsessive with improving. I know I am. Like I've won a lot in my life. I've won a lot. I'm thankful to be here. I'm lucky to be here. I said it before. I'm supposed to be on the side of the highway on 69 in Beaumont somewhere. but I'm not. I'm here. I got a big ass house. I got a beautiful wife, beautiful daughter, multiple cars, money in my account. I can go travel when I want to. I'm lucky. But even still, I don't feel fulfilled. Every day I get up and I'm grinding harder and harder and harder and harder because so many people depend on me. You know what I'm saying? My wife, my family, my sisters, my boys, the brand, the business. Like it's a lot of people that depend on me. So I don't feel like I can be mediocre or I'm gonna let everybody down. And I'm not the only one with that mindset. A lot of us had that. And I'm sure I see y'all shaking your head because y'all understand exactly what it is that I'm talking about. We don't have room to fail. We don't have room to be mediocre because we got to close that gap. Now, going back to what Rilla was saying, I think the difference is, unfortunately, and I got to keep it real up here, that it can work to our detriment in terms of what Kevin Hart was saying, because society has kind of brainwashed us into believing that it's only a few spots as far as being successful. And that's in any, field. You look at the comedy field, because we're speaking on Kevin Hart. It's typically one to two, maybe one to two comedians at a time that's really just dominating. You know what I'm saying? And it's been that way, dating back to the beginning of this. When in reality, that's why I gotta salute people like a Kevin Hart. I gotta salute people like a Kev on stage. These people are egoless. They built their brands up and brought their guys with them. You know what I'm saying? It's saying, look, we can all win. And I feel like if we do more of that, then we'll close that gap faster. But again, society has brainwashed us dating back to slavery, in terms of house niggas and field niggas. Like if you promote a couple of us up, a lot of them, most of them, in my opinion, won't even try to reach back because it's like, okay, I'm lucky to be here. I ain't about to sacrifice my position trying to get everybody else up. Hell no, I'm here. So that's what that's how the competition can work to a detriment. But if you have like-minded people, just like what Rilla was saying, his circle and my circle, same way. Me and my guys compete every day. When Kenny go out there and buy that M6 that costs X amount of money in my head, I got nice cars around. I'm like, okay, your bro done stepped up, man. Okay, it's time for me to get on my stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's not malicious. It's not like, oh man, I deserve that. He don't deserve that. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Just like with me, when I'm getting endorsements, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Folks them looking at me like, yeah, all right, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got to step it up on our end, but it's healthy competition. It's not malicious. So I feel like if it's more of that, then we can close that gap a lot faster and get out of that mindset that it can only be one of us. And I think that's what it stems from, man. That, again, just dating all the way back to slavery, house niggas and field niggas. You give one group of people certain benefits, and we can divide them that way, and it's worked. If we're gonna be honest. So I think it's on platforms like us, platforms like, Kevin Samuels, platforms like, I'm drawing a blank right now, but y'all get what I'm saying, to educate us and to like keep us together and understand the fact that, I can be humble in the midst of my guys and we can still be competing, trying to win. And that's what's going to push us to where we're trying to go. But, if we keep that divided mindset that it can only be one of us mindset, or bro doing good, man, I got to do better than him. He don't deserve that. I deserve that. That's selfish. We're going to be running in quicksand forever, man. So, but again, that's what it stems from. But it is necessary for us to close that gap, so that's how I view it.
I like that, man. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. I just posted a link in the chat right there. Christmas is right around the corner. You want to make sure that you guys get that uncomplicated skincare for men. So if you got a son, father, uncle, brother, husband, brother-in-law, whoever it may be, make sure you guys pick that package up, man. They got a lot of sweet deals. Again, I got the link. I'll put it right there back in the chat for you guys one more time. Make sure you get that skin in order, man. Something right around the corner. We got to be out here with a man glow. You feel me? And Trill, that segue right into our last and final topic. I will be posting the link shortly to open up the line. So if you guys want to chime in on this conversation, men only. King Talk is men only. Ladies, I appreciate you in the chat, but we want to hear from the men. This is our space, our time. But let's talk about the content creator's purpose. The content creator's purpose. We are all content creators, man, and we do a lot for the YouTube space. A lot of people are searching for solutions, or they may come on our platform and say that we are not saying solutions at that time. The one thing that I was having a conversation about earlier was that we got to identify the problem. And sometimes a lot of people don't get that problem, understand what the problem is on the first time or the 100th time. So we got to keep highlighting every platform as a content creator. You're not going to be able to get a solution. Sometimes you got to find a solution yourself, but just identifying the problem, you might be able to like, damn, I didn't realize I was doing that. And might be able to create your own solution. So when I hear when people say it's not enough solutions, I'm hearing that you don't understand what the problem is. You don't understand that the people are still constantly doing it over and over and over again. They keep repeating it. They still don't get it. How many times have you got to tell kids, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that? It's the same thing with certain adults. When they've been living their whole entire lives one way, their upbringing was one way. You're not going to be able to change that in 2 or 3 episodes. Sometimes it's going to take probably a year and deal with it. Just be happy that the information is there, that it's readily available, that it's constantly happening over and over again. Sometimes you got to listen to it about 3 or 4 times before you process it. So I frown upon the people that say that they're constantly looking for solutions. And sometimes the solutions are there. You just haven't accepted them yet. You disregard them because you want to hear what you want to hear. Shame on you. Well, let's talk about the content creator's purpose. Start with you, Rilla.
Man, I feel like I could unload on this one because I don't consider myself a content creator, right? I respect you guys. You guys are in the space. JR, you literally saw me active in the Facebook group. You saw me calling in every week. You pulled me up, and I just found a space here. But I'm a patron of the arts for sure, and I know what you guys do. I know what a lot of MCs, rappers, producers, visual artists. I know the pain that y'all go through to communicate a vision. And then here's the thing: once you put it out there to the public, you ain't got no control over how it's accepted or rejected. It is what it is. And I think when I first came up here, JR, you told me, you didn't choose this path, or you didn't choose the audience chose you and told you, this is more or less what we need to see and hear from you. And so a lot of times when people focus on stuff, because I see the same thing too. And I know you don't speak on it. To me, you don't speak on it enough, but that's not your style to speak on anything that you see negative, even when your name getting dragged through the mud. You just fall back, lay in the cut, and it is what it is. But I look at those people that say stuff like, oh, well, I'm not seeing enough solution in this space, or I'm not seeing this, then the third, whoop, da, 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 da. Number one, you're definitely not looking. I don't even know why certain people still having conversations about whether Kevin Samuels is coming with solutions. Because if you just go 3 years back, if you just go to something, if Kevin Samuels didn't do nothing else, any person with a son can give their son that things your father should have taught you video. And that's enough to feed them and give them a good, solid foundation, period, point blank, in the sense. But what happens is people love to project, love to go to church for one-stop shop, love to go to the synagogue for one-stop shop, love to go to the mosque for one-stop shop. And you won't apply just the basics, right? Something as simple as Tej Hanley, right? Get your skincare, get your skin up, man. Like, one of the things that Kevin talked about in his video was, and let me say this about the Tej Hanley, because when I saw that video, that things your father should have taught you, that's when I subscribed to him. I've been in my subscription for about 6 months now. And I saw that video and I was like, dang, I didn't think about that. I just thought I had to drink water and not stress. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I needed to exfoliate. I didn't know I needed a loofah. I didn't know I needed the brush to scrub them back. Hey man, keep it 1,000. Some of y'all don't even know you need to run that towel. Really, you need to have an ass rag, dog. You need to run that towel up the crack of your ass. Some people don't know that, right? So let me bring it back to the content creator. I was just saying, What was in that video? Let me bring it back and bring it home for Jerome. The content creator's purpose is to create. Shout out to Joe Budden, man. I think early on when he was doing his podcast and kicking it off, you know, with Joe Budden TV and everything, I think initially he was a huge advocate for content creators. I think he was the voice for a lot of content creators. Like you guys, most laymen, most people who are never around y'all, I hate going to the studio with rappers. I hate it. But most people will never know the pain that y'all go through to get a vision out, and you're trying to communicate it, and you're tapping in this to this creative side of your energy, and then you put it out there and you don't have anything else to, you just don't have no way to dictate how the public is going to accept it. And then when it comes back and it's all this blowback, it's just, you're missing the point. And I think just a lot of people just they just project from their own insecurities or their own shortcomings or whatever that is. But the purpose of the content creator is to create. And you do with that as you will. You chew the meat, spit out the bones. I listen to I'll wrap it up, I promise. But I listen to, like, in this space, I listen to Sinful to P, and then I recently started listening to Freeze. Now these are two pimps, allegedly, in the game. And there's game that I pick up from them that I could apply in everyday life, man. There's, you know, it's you chew the meat and spit out the bones. Right? How you gonna be a Christian and pick up game from a pimp, man? Y'all sleeping. Y'all sleep at the wheel, man. It's a ton of game you can pick up from anybody if you pay attention long enough, and if you're willing to learn, and if you're listening, as Trill was saying, to understand. But the content creator's purpose is to create.
There you have it. All right, Shan, coming to you. The content creator's purpose. Let's talk about it real quick.
The content creator's purpose. You know, they're calling me a content creator. I never called myself that until I really got to YouTube. But they say I've been a content creator for a long time. You know, because I originally started on Facebook and was dropping knowledge on Instagram, and you know, content creator provides entertaining or educational material for people to consume. Period. A content creator provides entertaining or educational material for the masses to consume. Now, the argument that a lot of people have is when it's supposedly educational, you're not giving, you talk about complaints, you're complaining, but you're not giving any solutions. Well, see, the thing about the World Wide Web and places like YouTube is sometimes the solutions can be solved by the people as long as you get the conversation going. The whole term "let's have the conversation" is something I really heard when I found the Lapeef Network. Let's have the conversation. It's not let's have the solution. Let's fix it all. Let's make sure that everybody got everything they need. It's let's have the conversation. Let's start there. Right now, we're talking about women over talking men. Don't overtalk me. Women over talking men. Do we have the solution for that? Well, like Trill says, all solutions may not apply. It depends on the situation. Some solutions work for some situations and others work for others. But
you faded out, Shan. I don't know if you can hear me. You on mute.
You're on mute, Shan.
And at that point, I'm sorry, I hit the keypad on my MacBook. At some point, what I would say, we're talking about the conversation, but at least we're having the conversation about it. So for those, I don't know who you ran into, JR, who was complaining and saying, yo, man, you know what? You guys are always talking about this, but then what are we supposed to do? Well, the answer has been given to you oftentimes. Sometimes it's in the conversation. And if the answer wasn't given to you, it's still not necessarily incumbent upon the content creator. It's not they're not charged with coming up with all the solutions, because there's 100 different ways to skin a cat. It's a lot of different ways to solve why women overtalk men. in general conversation or during an argument. There's a lot of ways to do that, and one way won't work for everybody, but at least the content creator started the conversation about it. When's the last time you had that conversation? When the last time you had a discussion forum about women over talking men? As far as I'm concerned, at that point, the content creator has done their job. At least they're saying something that otherwise would not have been said and hasn't really been talked about for years, at least over in this space. And that applies for any and everything: politics, religion. You know, right here, it's the manosphere, red pill / dating streets. You know, for me, it's entrepreneurship and relationships, the two ships. If I'm talking about it, then I'm done. I've done my, if I got you guys to talk about it, I've done my job. Now, if we got a few solutions in there, then cool. But at least we instigated and agitated people to actually have the conversation. And that's where I think the content creators are actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're providing entertaining or educational information to the masses.
There you have it, man. Appreciate that, Shan. I also want to say thank you to the couple of super chats. I know it's been sitting up there, but you guys had a huge donation. It's Tazzy for the $99.99. He said, shout out to the Lapeef King Talk. Appreciate that super chat. Also, A Senior with the $99.99. Thank you. You guys wait in the chat. I'll bring you up shortly. Appreciate you guys' patience. The lines are open, so feel free to refresh the browsers and click the link if you guys want to add some conversation. You want to come up on the panel and talk, just click that link, and I'll also put it in the chat as well. Trill, the content's creator's purpose.
I feel like as content creators, like our purpose is to shift the culture. We have a way more important job than I think that even we realize, to be honest. And it wasn't until recently I was having a conversation with the boys, just telling them about, like, bro, like, if you really just sit back and look at our stats, like look at our numbers and look at the amount of people that tune in to what we do every week, totals, you know, it's like we talking about hundreds of thousands of people that listen to my every word every week. And with that comes the amount of responsibility. Like, you are really shifting these people up. Like my fulfillment with this, right? It's not the money, it's not the influence, it's not the followers, it's none of that. It's getting that DM from that guy who was considering suicide, but he heard our content and we made him laugh for 30 minutes or an hour, or and that caused him to change his whole perspective on life and just to try to give it another chance. I damn near teared up when I read that DM. You know, my motivation is that, 19-year-old dude that don't got role models or didn't have no kind of, dad in the household, but he listened to our pod and we done talked about a situation that he currently going through. He done hit us, man, bro. Yeah, I appreciate what y'all said, in terms of this. Now I'm running my relationship like this, or I'm going about my business like this. So I was considering that major, but y'all said that major do this, so I'm considering that. And hearing these stories about the impact that these quote unquote simple conversations are having, that's where I get the fulfillment from. And that's why I feel like, we don't really realize how big or how important this shit is. Because a lot of us don't, and it's not by choice or whatever, but we'll get bogged down on like stats, views, listens, how, the money, the income, the super chats, all that. We'll get bogged down with the material aspect of this shit. But we are changing people's lives. We are affecting the way people go about their day-to-day lives, decisions that they making in their relationship, in their career, amongst their friends, different things like that. So it's like, that's what the role of a content creator is. Now, of course, there are variations to that. You got like comedians that's making people laugh. You got people like us that's having real conversations in terms of relationships. You got people like Earn Your Leisure that's giving you business, advice or whatever. You got Joe Budden and them who giving you music advice for the people that want to be artists and, industry, different things like that. So it's like, it's a wide array of things. Like I feel confident that like a young guy could really get on this internet and get lessons that a father should be giving him. And, again, that is huge. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what the point of all this is, and I'm just like JR, like I didn't want to do, Shane, I didn't want to be no content creator. I still don't see myself as that. I see myself as somebody to just get online and just give my opinion, give my take on things. But when you get to getting these DMs and you get to getting these messages and you get to seeing what the impact is, it's like, okay, now I got to adjust my line of thinking. I'm not just talking for me no more. I'm talking for that 17-year-old that's in, Ohio. Shout out to Ohio. That's, considering, going into this lane or going into that lane, and, my words and helped him make a decision. So, once you kind of accept like the impact that you're making and accept the fact that you're a content creator, I feel like we can do damage out here as far as like making real change. Because to be honest, like it's people that spend more time listening to podcasts than the radio now. If we're gonna be honest, so spend more time watching YouTube than watching TV now. You know what I'm saying? So if you are the people that these people are watching, you are having a big impact on their life. And I feel like as content creators, we need to start moving accordingly. And that means getting rid of all of the fraud shit, all of the, giving half-ass advice that you're not really living like that. I say a lot on my podcast. I don't speak from imagination. I've lived it. I've done it. I'm living it. So when I'm telling you, hey, this is what you got to look forward to, that's because I've done it already. It ain't no research. I ain't looked at no statistics, no studies, no none of that. I've done it. I'm living it. You see what I'm saying? So that again, that's just it comes with just accepting that impact that we have, and I feel like more of us need to do that, and just keep having these conversations that we having, which is why I love the Lapeef platform so much. I love Kevin Samuels. I love Earn Your Leisure. I love Joe. I listen to all of it because in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, we are like giving real gems and having real conversations that people don't have in their everyday life. They just don't. In terms of like holding women accountable. Like if people listen to our podcast and be like, man, bro, I put my girl on y'all podcast because what y'all saying, I can never say to her. So it's I want her to hear it from somebody else. And again, that's the impact is limitless if we use it right. So that's what I feel like the role of a content creator is: shifting the culture and showcasing the results that we want to see, changing the world. And that's what we're doing.
Hey, JR, just real quick, can I ask y'all a question?
Mm-hmm.
All three of y'all. Trill hit on something, and I don't want to skip over that because I get those DMs too, and I'm always surprised. But I work with you, so it's like the fact that I get them from being associated with the platform, I take that serious. So can y'all just unpack or share a little bit more about like the types of DMs that y'all getting from men or young bloods and the impact that y'all making so that some of the people in the comments that's talking slick and greasy kind of understand what's going on right now?
Man, I get such a wide array, bro. Or a wide array, just like I said, those two, that one where, the guy was, thinking about suicide is probably the one that like hit me the hardest. But in terms of like, we get DMs from guys that's in gangs that want to get out. Feel like, hey man, I was peer pressured and I ain't had no daddy or whatever. The streets love me, whatever. But I see how they situations is ending up, and I don't want to be that, but I don't have the information, or I don't know, nothing about no college. Ain't nobody giving me no advice on that. So like I spend a lot of my time in them DMs responding, and I'm talking about lengthy paragraph, action points that for guys to do. But it's like, we get DMs from women that's in relationships that's that's getting abused by their man and saying, hey, I want to get out of this, but I'm terrified. He put a track on my phone and he did this and he know what my job is at. What advice can y'all give me? Like it's a wide array. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, is because again, like the advice that I give somebody could like literally change their life. And it took a while for me to kind of accept that. And like accept that, the responsibility that comes with that. But bro, like the impact that we making out here, bro, we have no idea for real.
I think it's very. I'm gonna come to you, Shan. My bad. I think it's very important for me to say this because the one thing that really touched me most recently is he actually signed up to my Patreon, and when I talked to the brother, he told me that the reason why he subscribed to the Patreon is because his wife had just passed away. It's been about a month now that just passed away. And one of the things that they did was that they will always listen to us on Thursdays. And after it was over, they would have a discussion about the topics. It was talking points for them, and how it actually helped and how his wife was really looking at the space and things was going on. But they will always tune in every single time. So after his wife passed away, he just felt, he just still like wanted that attachment, and so to speak. And so today, he emailed me and he was like, he found out we was in the same area and said, "Hey brother, I want to take you out to lunch, just to talk." And so the sense that I get from him is that like that connection is real, and the connection that he had with us, it would have just meant the world to him. So I make sure that I cleared out my calendar for this time and say, "Hey, we can meet up and do it this time." So we actually went to, I call it brunch today, and we just talk, man. We just talk. He's a real good, solid dude. I actually learned a lot from him. He's in his 40s, man, and just to hear what he's doing, he was left with 4 kids. He's still providing with them. He's a God-fearing man, and it's just like touched my soul for him to be able to look at me as an honor to be able to sit in the same space with him. And I'm like, I'm just a regular guy, man. I'm just here. But when I see and hear things like that, it just motivates me more, and also gives me clarity that we are doing some work, believe it or not. And I don't think that people understand that we do bring a little bit of entertainment. It's not planned, but the entertainment does happen. And I do allow the entertainment to happen because, we want to be smiling sometimes too. The one thing about the Lapeef Network is we got different flavors. So whatever you're looking for, King Talk is something different. Lapeef Let's Talk is something different. But I do get a lot of positive message that we are bringing a lot of value. So even though you may have some people here and there saying, I want this, I want that, but that's going to always be the case. We can't satisfy everybody 1,000%. But as a content creator, I get tons and tons of emails about the work that we are doing. And it's not just me, it's the people, man. It's you guys. I get emails about Shan, Trill, and Chicago Gorilla. I get sent stuff that I'm supposed to give you guys. So it's not just about me, it's us. It's us. And without you guys, we would not be as powerful as we are. Like I'm just a part of the piece. But I have to salute you guys because you guys make King Talk. You guys make it, man. And without you guys' perspectives, without you guys' value, it wouldn't be as great as it is right now. So I have to take my hat off to you guys, man. And I just appreciate y'all. I really do. And really, I know you're not a content creator, man, but you bring so much value. However you want to label yourself. I'm not into labels. You bring a lot of value. And I still don't think that you reached your peak yet. I'm pushing you, man. I'm pushing you, and I'm going to continue pushing you because I feel like it's a lot of great things that you still have to do in this world. And I'm going to keep pushing you, man. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to light that flame, and your ass going to take off. I'm telling you. All right, I'm going to start bringing up callers again. I appreciate you guys. It's a lot of y'all down there. I
Hold on,
appreciate
JR.
y'all.
I want to read. Let me read this one. Let me read this one. Rilla asked us for like what's some of the stuff that we get in our DMs.
Yes, sir.
Before you bring them up, Rilla, here's this is my Instagram archive. It's November 21st. I got a message from somebody in Instagram. I get them all the time, but this one hit me, and I put it in my story. This one here, that day before yesterday was, "Good morning, sir. I just had a young man pull up your YouTube channel so he can follow you. I want him to listen to the readings as well as tap into your knowledge. I'm pretty good at discerning and matching people. I referred him to your channel." She highlighted your. "I referred him to your channel for a reason. I did not refer him to others for a reason. He is what you have to receive, what you have and to receive what you're ministering, sir. He is a young man who married a woman with 5 children, from young to grown. He has no children of his own, and he works at a restaurant. He and I chatted for a bit, then I turned him on to your channel, Shannon. I'll try to get his YouTube name. I forgot to ask him what his YouTube handle is. He's not a follower. He's a follower, not an influencer. Hopefully he'll join in, even if he only lurks." So that's an example of the stuff that I get. that's an example of that's somebody who saw value in me. Not see it down. Trill kind of woke me up just now because I wasn't looking at it. I mean, like I didn't really consider myself like that. I'm a content creator is somebody who brings entertainment and education, right? And I guess I had been really tapped into that term just when I got to YouTube, but theoretically I've been doing it for a long time, but Trill laid it out. So when I get messages, that's a DM that I got. I woke up to it yesterday morning, but I got that message. It's like, wow, when you impacting people like that, it's like, yo, she said she sent them to my channel because I'm ministering. I've never heard nobody tell me, well, actually I have, but not like not from a stranger. It's like from friends and family local, but from somebody I've never met to say I'm ministering to a young man because he married a woman that had 5 kids. He has no kids of his own. And I probably have information that's going to be able to help him navigate his marriage or his current situation. I feel honored and obligated now, the way Trill put it. I feel obligated now to make sure that I bring the best content that I possibly can. So that's the kind of stuff that I get, man. And I get a lot of stuff from young boys too, youngsters in their 20s that's saying, yo, man, I'm tapped in. I'm paying attention to everything you say. I get those all the time. But that's the first time I got something from a woman who put another man onto my channel. I'll give you an example.
Man, that's dope, man. That's dope. All right, again, I got the lines open up. I'm going to start bringing up people, man. We'll take on a few people for the next about 25 minutes or so. All right. What's going on, Alonzo? Welcome to the show, brother.
What's up, man? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Hey, how you guys doing? I've been watching y'all for probably since like February now. In Trill, I've been following your channel since before pandemic with you and Smooth, man. Smooth was a clown. He was a funny dude. But first point I wanted to make was the content creators part. And the point I wanted to make was seeing you guys, I think a lot of Black men in this space, this is the first time in history where we've actually had control of our own media, just because the barrier of entry is just so low on YouTube, Instagram. So you don't have to buy a channel or have a network. So now it's just one of those things. Now we're like, as y'all was saying with y'all DMs, I mean, y'all is like just positive influences for so many young guys. To before, you already had to be a millionaire or so-and-so, or you had to have permission from other people in the industry. It was more centralized. Now it's kind of more decentralized. So I think as a content creator's purpose, I think that's one of the main things that a lot of people just don't have positive influences of Black men in their lives, unfortunately, the way it is. And the thing I really had to say, really had a question about, was the mentality of being the best and not having to be number one. I think a good topic would be just what healthy competition looks like. Because I mean, I was a high school and college athlete, so I can definitely relate to trying to be number one. Only thing is, I don't want people to equate. I learned from Naval is a status game versus wealth game. So when you play status games, the problem is there can only be one number one. And most people don't understand the concept of being number one in your lane. A lot of people just associate being number one in general. And the problem with that is a lot of times people feel like it's easier to bring somebody else down than to elevate themselves up, which is why we got the crowds and the barrel mentality. So we all understand sports. I mean, Klay Thompson, one of the best basketball players in basketball right now. But I mean, he has a number 2 role. And obviously, does he try to be number one? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure him and Curry go at it all the time in the 3-point competition, whatever. But he still, when he gets on the court, Draymond is arguably the best defender in the world, but he's still number 3 on his team, right? So I feel like all those guys are cool with it because they're playing the wealth game as far as they still all millionaires, they're still all respected, but they can't be number one. So for average guys, I just feel like try to be number one in your lane, which is a bit different than being number one overall. So I just kind of want to hear you guys' take on that.
Yeah, I would say, even using your Klay Thompson example, again, number one is relative to the subject that we're talking about, right? Like Steph is the number 1 shooter of all time. He's not the number 1 player in the league. It's like Klay, just like you said, he's not the number 1 player on his team, but he's probably the number 1 3 and D player of our generation. Draymond, same way. It's not many people. He's probably the number 1 player in the league as far as defense who can go out 1 through 5. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can be number 1 in your own lane, and then we come together and we a conglomerate. You know what I'm saying? It's just like with
Yes, sir.
content creation. You got somebody that's number one in the relationship market. Earn Your Leisure, number one in the finance market. Kevin Samuels, number one. Again, and we can all work together and network and build a conglomerate. Everybody's dominating their lane. And it can still be healthy that way. Like, it's, again, just like Rilla said earlier, it's room for all us to eat. It's room for all us to. It's hundreds of thousands of people that's involved in terms of like spectating and watching all our channels. And some of them watch multiple channels of ours, but each of us have our own fan base. And it's like when we link and we network and we build, we ended up merging fan bases a lot of times. It's people that say, hey man, I got on to you from the Lapeef Network or whatever. And it's people, I'm sure you hear the same thing. It's people that's in the comments, hey, shout out to Crew Season, this, that, and the third. But it's like we merging. It ain't no ego. It ain't nothing. That's what you call healthy competition.
Yes,
like me and JR don't feel like we got to take each other out. You know what I'm saying? He's number one in what he do. I'm number one in what I do. Shane number one in what he do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a mentality thing. It's all relative. You know what I'm saying? That we shooting for the same spot, just like you're talking about in terms of basketball. Like, yeah, I mean Draymond, he could think he's the number one shooter all he want, but he's not. You should focus on what it is that you do, excel in that, and then combine with people that do something different, and we can make real change that way. You know what I'm saying? So again, I said to say being number one is relative. Focus on what you're good at and dominate that lane, and stop looking to your left and your right, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Here's the thing that I think about when I think about that competition piece too. I like to bring it back to music. I'm a huge music fan, right? So Shan, Death Row, Ruthless Records, No Limit, Cash Money, Def Jam, Loud Records, Tommy Boy Records, all of the Luke Skywalker. All of these record labels existed in the same space, created multi-millionaires, and it was really no obviously the Death Row Bad Boy thing, cool. Like, put that aside. All of these record labels exist, and there's never any real like cutthroat competition, at least in the public eye. But even behind the scenes, Shan, I'm pretty sure some people. I know some people behind the scenes. A lot of times, them guys from different record labels, man, they go out, chop it up, eat. You know what I'm saying? Talk about, hey man, you sound such, so man, I ain't get it, man. That's, man, salute to you. And they go back in and they compete healthy, even from an athlete standpoint. What usually happens at the end of the game, everybody comes on the court, or basketball game at least, everybody comes on the court and you got to do the line, right? Where you give that to all the players, whether you like it or not. It could have been a tough loss. And so for me, growing up at the crib, man, when I came up in Chicago, it was known as the city of hella haters. It was known as the city of hella haters. And when I came back, I'm gonna just tell you, man, it's a complete 180 here now. It's so many people collaborating. People don't even understand. Chicago influences the world in terms of music, fashion, art, whether you believe it or not. And it's because all of those things converge and people are working together. So and they still competitive, trust and believe that, but it's not cutthroat. And so that's why I believe like it's room for all of us to eat, man. You can have your seat at the table. You just got to know what position you're playing.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lonzo, I gotta keep it moving, man. Get some of these.
I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thanks for the support and appreciate having you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Death Row Records.
I interned for Sony and then worked for Columbia Records in 1998, and everything you talk about is 100.
What's up?
What's going on? We Rise Entertainment or International? What is it?
International.
Yeah, International. You can just call me Omni V. How y'all doing, man?
What's going on?
What up, Omni?
All is well, man. I just want to first off say I love what you guys are doing. The show was amazing.
Peace.
I think all these topics are very important for men to be discussing. And it was a fire show, man. Seriously. Just real quick, I was going to touch on some of the things you covered. You talked about content creators and what their purpose should be. I don't think anybody can tell any other content creator, what their purpose is or what their purpose should be. But I would imagine it's whatever, goal you set out to meet when you created your channel. But I will say the impact that this network has had on me personally. I think it's amazing to see a melanated man create a network, not a show, but a network. To me, that's just like, I've been on this earth 34 years and I never seen that actually done. I've seen networks with plenty of black faces, but when it comes down to the type of moves, you making, JR, I applaud you, man. And it's really just set off a fire in me just watching you. But the other topic, talking about the ladies being loud or whatever when they talk to men, I just think there's a lot of wisdom that's missed, especially that ladies just don't get to see, especially if your father's not in the home, to see the dynamic between a healthy dynamic between a man and a woman, what that's supposed to look like. And I can say from my experience that you'll find that the softer a woman speaks, the harder a man tries to listen to hear what it is that she's saying. And it's really more about what it is that you have to say. Is it of any substance? Is it important? What kind of impact is it gonna have? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a stepmother, and my stepmother is one of the most soft-spoken women I ever met in my life. And it's one of those things where, out of respect, I don't want her to ask her to repeat herself. So I try my best to listen when she's talking. But whenever that woman opens up her mouth, man, it's jewels, it's nuggets, it's gold, man. And I just have so much respect for her. My mother, my biological mother, she raised me. I love her to death. Do anything for her. Masculine, very assertive. Hard to hard to communicate with. You know what I'm saying?
I knew that butt was coming, but
it's and that's half my DNA. And so when you put two likes in the same room, it's hard having the conversation. And, I love my mom, but that's just something I noticed. So if I would say to ladies out there, if you're speaking to a man and you really want to be heard, it's more important about what it is you have to say, not being loud. If your goal is to actually be heard and be listened to and be understood, if you're trying to control the conversation and the dynamics and all that, then you get what you get. But I just I really want to just thank you guys for that conversation that you were having about men and protecting the home and what does that look like? What does that mean? Because I don't think that's a conversation that's really had enough, especially with a lot of us not having our fathers in the home. It's something that's not seen. So, you're watching movies, you're watching movies to learn what a man does in the house. Ladies, they're watching movies to learn, what a woman is supposed to really do when there's a man involved in the house. And my wife and I, man, we watch the show and we have certain conversations, and we're having them right now about our children. What are we doing to, how to raise them a certain type of way? I tell my son, look, when I'm gone, my oldest boy, I have two boys, but I tell my oldest boy, look, when I'm gone, you the man of the house. He's 7 years old, so I don't make it too crazy. I just, I don't.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, he's a kid, and I keep my kid, a kid. I want him to enjoy his childhood, But I tell him I want him to think, what is Daddy doing? What does Daddy do when Daddy's here? I want him to think along those lines. And my wife calls me, she tells me when I'm gone, like, he's really he's taking this thing serious. He's opening up doors. He's making sure when we crossing the street, he's the first. He's looking before he lets us. He holds us back before we cross, and he's checking, things of that nature. My daughter, I can't even really, go talking to her about her, man. She just she's so ahead when it comes down to using that feminine energy to get what she wants. It's scary, man. It's really scary. But
you said you're 34. How long you been married?
10 years.
You've been married. You got married at 24. Dope. Okay. Is she
Yes,
your high school sweetheart? college sweetheart?
No, college. I met her at college. Crazy, man. It was a blind speed dating event, man. I was just coming home from war, and
Okay.
I wasn't
All right.
even, I wasn't even looking. But that's a whole nother story right there, man.
And you grew up with your father in your life when you grew up?
Yes, absolutely. He wasn't in my household, but he was definitely in my life.
Okay. All right, cool. Shout out to you, bro. 10 years in the game. That's what's up.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
Big
Appreciate
Shout
it.
out to you for sure.
Yeah, a little bit of seasoning, man. Make you
Nah,
better.
that's good, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. We appreciate you calling in on me, V. Thank you for the constant support too. I think you called him before, right?
I'm not probably not this show.
You're not this show, but the Lapeef Let's Talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I do remember you, brother. Thanks again for the support, man. Good seeing you again too.
All right, good seeing you, man. Thank y'all.
All right,
Y'all be
no
blessed
problem.
now.
You too.
Well, I love hearing that stuff, man.
Yeah. What's going on, Eugene? Still?
Oh, not much. What about you?
Man, can't call it blessed, man. I woke up this morning.
Okay. I've caught the last subject about content creators, and I said in the super chat that you know content creators that have certain purposes attract certain audiences, and I've listened to a lot of content creators, and I've resonated with all of them. One of the content creators I listened to said that when you choose, a content creator to listen to, make sure that content creator resonates with you. And that's the case with me. All of them that I've listened to resonate with me. Now, one thing I do want to say about all the content creators I listen to, most of them are Black women. Most of them. But the good thing about, the Black women I listen to, they talk a lot about femininity and the women's role in a relationship. And they agree with submission and all those things. I only listened to 3 men, just 3 men before I came to King Talk. That's Kevin Samuels, that's Anton, and that's Carrie Pope. Those 3 men. And all the content creators, well, if you see a panel, right, it's either half women or all women. But for the 3rd time right now, this is my 3rd visit to King Talk, and it's wonderful to finally hear a panel of masculinity. So it's great to have that balance. Yes, I am a man, and I want to learn more about masculinity, but also to learn about femininity. And YouTube, and YouTube is the only main one I listen to, and I'm glad to see you fellas come together, to talk about men issues. I love it.
I want to first say I appreciate that, man. I'm listening, and it really means a lot. And I agree with you too. I'm not going to even sit here and say, because my mother was masculine. I'm gonna be honest. My father's Nigerian, and he couldn't handle her. She had a mouth on her. So when I first started to learn about femininity, I'm like, damn, this shit is nice. Like this, what is this? It was like I was just totally caught off guard and surprised. And I've actually heard women speaking this. I actually experienced it and seen it. And it's like, this is what I like. This is what I want. I never knew this existed. So, shout out to you wanting to explore and learn how powerful and how welcoming femininity could be. I encourage all men. If you don't know it, it's a great experience. You should be encouraging your wives, the people you're dating, if that's what you want. But it's a nice thing, man. It's lovely. We kings, and we deserve to have that type of treatment, man. We deserve it. And you gotta live by it, man. You shouldn't accept anything less, because once you experience it, once you get a taste of it, you ain't gonna want to go back. You're gonna be sitting there questioning the person you sitting right there with, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Who raised you? I guarantee.
Right. And one last thing before I leave. It's also something where if you listen to one content creator, they'll sometimes lead you to another. And that's what's been happening to me. I've met I mean, the first content creator, introduced me to another by collaborations. Like, for example, Six the Goddess, one of the content creators I listened to, actually led me to Anton and the Lapeef Network. So if it weren't for her, I wouldn't even heard of the Lapeef Network, let alone King Talk.
Yeah, shout out to
So I
Six
thank
to
her
God.
for that.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, still, you know what I would say also though, because you said you quoted one of your favorite content creators, and one of the content creators that you listen to. And you were saying that make sure that whoever you subscribe to or whatever, make sure they resonate you. But for me personally, and I would suggest this for anybody, I absolutely like to hear opposing opinions. I absolutely want to hear the other side. I want to hear it because it challenges me to think differently, challenges me to use the left side of my brain and think critically about certain things. I know on these platforms, I don't always articulate my point succinctly, but I do enjoy listening to content creators who may not agree with me or who may not subscribe to my views. Right. So like sometimes I'll listen to Star of the Star Report, and Star is an atheist. But if you listen to him and how he walks the argument down logically, it makes sense. Right.
Yeah, and I do that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I do that sometimes too. Yeah, I do, pop up into content creators who I oppose, and to hear what they say, and most of the time, I don't stay off all the way because it was just disagreeable. But yes, you are right. It's also good to hear opposing views as well.
All right, Eugene, I definitely appreciate you calling in and hearing that. It means a lot. Thank you for your support. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Continue to stay along with the journey and just keep following us, man. We're going to keep growing, keep elevating, man. Keep bringing that heat. I got to keep the calls moving. Again, thank you. I helped off pretty quick. All right. What's going on, Austin?
How you doing?
Man, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. How you doing, Shannon?
What up, Julio?
How you doing?
What's going on, bro?
So Lapeef, when you talk about the content creator's purpose, one of the things that I have to say is that, as Brother Steele just mentioned, he's absolutely correct. When you start watching one content creator, you're going to be inevitably introduced to several others. I was introduced to you guys actually through a conversation about domestic discipline from Kevin Samuels. I saw that, and I was like, "Who are these
banana
guys?"
split?
Banana split.
There you go.
And you heard me say banana split. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of got me into you guys' network, and I've been listening to the show for about the whole time. And I guess one thing that I would say is the content creator's purpose is to definitively do things and have conversations that the majority of us can't say in public spaces, right? I always, and I'm pretty big on Clubhouse and stuff. And one of the conversations we always have, and I'm gonna ask y'all this: why does it seem that as men, we don't really have the safest? My dad used to say that the safest place for a man to be a man is the barbershop. Safest place for a man to be a man, because that is the only time it's not woman dominated. We have an opportunity to say what's on our mind, but we know when we get in the car with our wives, our girlfriends, whatever, if we were to really tell them some of the things we're thinking, that would piss them. It would make them look at us in a whole different dynamic. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm like, how do we, and I'm only 26 years old, but I grew up in a mom and dad married household. How do we, as content creators, what would be you guys' take on that in terms of is it that men never had a safe space until this, as Kevin Samuels said, until social media democratized the airways, and how can we best as men manipulate and use these platforms to create that safer space for men?
Man, I would say just society in general, probably for the past maybe 40, 50 years, somewhere around that, has been about the upliftment of women in terms of equality, right? So when something's rising like that, anything that's said against it is going to be vilified. right? It's just like now with the LGBTQ community, right?
Right.
You damn near can't even come out and say anything negative and without getting completely attacked for it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of stifles the conversations that men want to have with women. I'm sure like way back in the day, like men was having these conversations more often, but it's like since this, feminist movement has been taken off, it's like, anything said against that, it's like, oh, okay, so you hate women, so you don't want the, women's, advancement in society, and that's completely off point. And a lot of people will use that to kind of pivot away from the points that a lot of us are making. We are not up here to berate women, to down women, to talk bad about women. We are up here to give our mindset in terms of the things that they do and some of the things that they've been, I guess, brainwashed in this whole feminist advancement to do, and how that affects us. So it's real easy for it to kind of get taken out of context when people are not really listening to hear instead of listening to respond, which is what a lot of times is what happens. That's why you have people like Kevin Samuels, who's always under fire by people who may hear a 20, 30-second minute clip. But then if you go watch his full, episode that night, then you'll be like, okay, wait, okay, that was taken out of context, that clip. But when he breaks it down like this, it's very logical. He's not attacking women. He's saying if you want this type of man, this is what this type of man comes with. And that's true for the majority of, the time, the advice that he's giving them. But if you listening to be defensive, you're not going to hear that. And it sounds like he's going against the advancement of, feminism in society. So I think just this advancement of femininity has kind of stifled us. And that's why it's a great responsibility on platforms like this, on platforms like Kevin Samuels, like Shan, like mine, to just come on here and tell the truth. And I think the more of us that do it, come on and tell the truth without fear of repercussion, and we can kind of swing that pendulum back to to where it's fair, so we can voice our concerns without being crucified, because that's what they are, concerns. They're not us belittling women or berating women, like it's so often interpreted as. So that's how we move forward, and that's why things are the way they are, unfortunately.
Yep, there you go. All right, Austin, I want to keep it moving, man. I thank you for your support and appreciate you.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me on, brother.
All right. What's going on, Cheeky?
How you doing, sir? How you
Doing phenomenal. How you doing, brother?
I'm well.
My man, Cheeky.
Yes, sir. That the topic, women over talking men, it's so multi-layered and multifaceted. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's almost like women have to understand what you guys were saying earlier, that men really don't have these spaces. So, whenever they are invited or maybe there for the different counterpoints or the different viewpoints, there's still a level of, this is still somewhat our space, right? And I know that Chicago had brought that up before, and everybody's like, what like, and I think that's part of the issue, is like that whenever men have something, I think just by the nature of men being men, it's always assumed or thought that there needs to be some sacrifice, or not sacrifice, but some form of sharing. And there's nothing that we have to ourselves. All right. So the sacredness of our experience and time is taken for granted because of the nature of how we do things. We don't, for example, when you're a man and you make money, you don't make money for yourself, you make it for your family. When you are sacrificing time and energy, you're not sacrificing for your own sake, you're sacrificing for your wife and children. Everything is a sacrifice, and other people are using and pulling from you. So, the question is, when is it our time for us to be us? When is our time for us to, understand and have these things go on? So, it's easy for people to go, well, men are always this and this, that, and the third. But if you really look at it, men do a lot of the sacrificing and a lot of the things that don't require, and we don't ask for much acknowledgement. So when it's time for us to speak, we'd much rather be heard than, shut down, whether it be like you guys are saying, passively or actively. Like if you're actively talking over me, I know you're not listening. But if you're rejecting what I'm saying with a psychoanalysis or a passive aggressive tone or whatever many other ways there is, it seems as if, we don't matter. And for the longest of time, or at least like Shannon just said, for the past 30, or Trill just said, for the past 34 years, women have dominated the airway. And people or men my age and younger, that's all we've known. So you can't make that argument. Men have dominated society. I just became a man. What are we talking about here? Just now figuring some things out, and that's only because these spaces exist. Or I have a father. That's not everybody else's story. So that was just my thing. Is it there's just got to be some form of reverence and respect for the man's time and communication, because it's really not any. And it's easy for it to be put into different categories, misogynist or woman haters. Like, well, why can't I just be talking? Why can't I just be communicating? But again, and it's one of those things that men just go through as men. You roll with the punches. You accept it. 100% accountability on your part. Doesn't matter what everybody else doing. So
no more. We're stopping that. We've been getting beat up. We've been getting beat up for decades. We've been silent for a long time, Cheeky. We've been silent and then just been capitulating a lot of bullshit for a long time, and now brothers are starting to speak up. They're having conversations like this.
Yeah. Hey,
do you follow the crew season, Cheeky?
Yeah, no, I do.
Okay.
I follow because they'll have a panel, like they normally have a table where it's multiple and they'll talk.
Yeah.
So
like conversations like that. Yeah, like conversations like that barbershop, that stuff that we ain't had that in a long time. These brothers came along and now they're doing that. Now I'm glad for that kind of stuff, and I'm glad that you got to give a shout out to YouTube for giving us the opportunity to even have it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's it, guys. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna hop off. Let y'all get to the next.
I appreciate you, Cheeky, as always, brother, man. Keep on bringing that heat.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, Shan, do you think, or would you, as Cheeky was talking, I'm sitting up here like, what's crazy? I don't think women control the airways because they had something radically important to say, as much as it was about advertising dollars, bro.
Yeah, they spend money. That's the only reason why.
They spend more money.
Well, look, man, I'm a fashion designer. I'm in the fashion. I sell clothes, right? I got 7 brands. 6 of them are for women. 1 is for men, and the one that's for men don't make no money. Men don't buy when men get clothes. It's normally bought by women for their man.
That's a fact.
So women spend bread. Shout out to women. I love them because they keep us in business. They keep us in business. They buy my clothes. They buy my dresses. They buy my sports bras. They buy my leggings.
Oh, you got it all, Shan.
Well, yeah,
I think it's important for women to hear that though. Because
shout out to leggings, man. That's the best thing you can do, man. Shout out to leggings, man.
Shout out to stretchy pants.
Man, you get to see a little bit of that them panties, them thongs. Oh, shit,
man.
You naked.
Bucket naked.
Yeah, man. Yeah, women. The reason women are in control of media because of the commercials. Correct. The reason why there was all the talk shows. Think about the soap operas. You know about them soap. General Hospital, As the World Turns, All My Children. All those daytime TV shows was driven and paid for by women's dollars that watched those shows and then went shopping after the shows is over, while the men was at work. So they gave them TV shows. Next came Oprah, and then came Ricky Lake. Yeah, remember Ricky Lake?
Oh yeah,
yeah, man.
Yeah, they're doing it. What's going on, Mr. Thomas? How you doing? I can't
What's
hear you.
happening?
You there? Oh, yeah, you do. Can't call it, man. Bless. What you got for us? Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, sir.
Not much, man. I was just trying to say, one thing that I think that people be breezing over is that, like the feminist movement came in because, you know, the people who control the money, they wanted to tax more people. You know what I'm saying? So what better way to tax more people than to get the other half of the household working? You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. And then on top of that, I'm not. I mean, you know, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but not all the way. I'm not 100% sure they knew that this would be the outcome, but I don't think they would be mad that this was the outcome because this probably bigger than anything any of them could have ever imagined. You feel me? Like the every year the stock increases. I mean the market increases every year, every single year, and it's mainly because of women. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Like that's one thing, but you know what I'm saying? The one thing, like when y'all was talking about like the women over talking men and stuff like that, like man, like I think that the main issue is other men that make it seem like pretty much, you know, we talking about simps or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like they make it seem like, oh no, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? They just try and do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Like it's not necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like it may somebody I heard somebody earlier say this, you know what I'm saying? Like their grandmother or aunt or something like that, she was real feminine, but whenever she spoke, people wanted to listen to her. You know what I'm saying? She was super feminine though, because nobody wants to hear a masculine woman. You know what I'm saying? Like most people don't want to
Nope.
hear a woman. You see a woman, she's supposed to be, you know, she's supposed to be feminine. She's supposed to be soft spoken. She's supposed to be nice. She's supposed to be pretty and all this shit. And then as soon as she opened her mouth, you be like, damn, this a challenge. It's a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like I feel like that's the main reason why it's acceptable because some men make it seem like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like
Nope.
if most men check women as soon as they did that, you know what I'm saying? If they was to be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to really think about what you're doing right now. You know
Ain't
what I'm saying?
nobody
Like,
got
most
time for
women
that.
would be like, you know, exactly. You feel me? Like, most women would be like, let me chill out. You know what I'm saying? Everybody looking at me crazy in here. Of course, you know, women more than men really care about what other people think about them. So if nobody was on their side, you know what I'm saying? Then I really feel like most women would be like, yo, let me check my situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even like let me check who I am, XYZ, but let me check my situation at least. You feel me? So, you know, that's just my opinion on it. And I don't know, man. Somebody said
And
something
remember,
earlier. I
it's
can't remember
important.
what they said. That kind of like
Remember, is my mic on? Oh, remember, it's
Yeah,
important
you
to
on.
identify the right fit. So remember, it was four waves of feminism. There's four ways. So we're currently in feminism 4.0. And so what you're speaking of is particularly 4.0 feminism. That's the one that most men have an issue with. You know, it's not the original feminism and the suffrage was feminism 1.0. That was version 1, right? Version 1 was the suffrage. The second wave was about inequalities. The third wave was still I am women. That's when women burn their bras. Right? I am women. That was the third wave of women. And that's how they sucked in the black women. And now it's all about the fourth wave is the Me Too, the combating sexual harassment and assault and misogyny and all that kind of stuff. And down with men, hate men, hate men. That's the one that we're currently combating. So what you're speaking to is particularly with feminism 4.0. So I agree with you, bro.
Nah, yeah. Don't get it twisted, bro. Like, you know, I fuck with feminism to a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Because what you said, you know,
What?
the first two
Two versions.
feminisms was decent. You know what I'm saying? The first two
Yeah.
versions of feminism was actually decent. You know what I'm saying? The
And
third
necessary.
one
Yeah.
was kind of like unnecessary, and the fourth one is extreme. But I'm gonna let you know what comes with the fourth one being extreme is that there's a plethora of whores out here. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like, you know, I'm still out here doing my thing, so I ain't mad at that. You know what I'm saying? Not yet, at least. I understand, like in the future, you know what I'm saying?
But
he said I'm out. He said he don't mind. He love the hoes. He said I'm still out here.
Bruh.
That sound like Pookie
You're
alert.
not complaining about these women either, right? You're not complaining about
them. Nah, not the least bit. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel what you're saying, you know what I mean? Not complaining about it.
How old are you?
I'm 33.
33 and you're not complaining yet?
I'm 33.
Okay. All right.
Bro, for what? Like, I mean, I understand what you're saying, bro. Like, as a matter of fact, the funny thing is, I used to complain about it. You know what I'm saying? And then I realized, like, there's nothing to complain about. You know what I'm saying? Like, each and every one of them is gonna give me what I asked for.
Nope.
You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm not asking for.
This is the challenge that I have, though. So you're not complaining about it. 33. Where do you see yourself at 60?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, that's what I was trying to get through before you kept pressing the note button. You know what I'm saying? But
that's JR. That's JR does.
As of right now.
No, he always blame it on me. Say I got a soundboard too.
You do, really?
Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You said you want to be a little bit more hands-on.
I meant pause, man. I ain't want to be no hands-on.
Oh yeah, pause on that one. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nope.
But yeah, man, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not really looking for that. Like, most dudes who talk to me about women problems that they have, I always be thinking to myself, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still work at FedEx, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still work at 7-Eleven, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to really be focusing on getting your feet up under you before you be focusing about a woman breaking your heart. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. That's just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Like, so at this point in time in my life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not comfortable enough to really be giving that much to a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Like, and I'm not. Huh?
I said, but you running through these hoes though.
I mean, you know, as best as I can. You feel me? But you know what I'm saying. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't about to act like, you know what I'm saying, I'm Michael Johnson. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the Olympics.
So let me ask you, I know JR got to get to more calls, but let me ask you this, man.
Yeah, by the point.
Still, for all the hoes that you done ran through, what that equate to? What that mean?
Nah, you know, I mean, I don't know. This really like my only point of contention with you on the show, Chicago. Like, I'll be fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? But like, it'd be like you.
Let's get it. Go ahead. What? Say it again.
That's gonna be an hour.
Why you get upset? Why you get upset? I was just fucking with everything.
My man said he had a point of contention.
You know what I'm saying? I fuck with you with everything.
I rock with you too, Samo.
You got a point of contention with me.
No. I'm just asking questions. You giving answers, man. You actually giving people perspective, and you helping me out at the same time.
Right,
you said,
you're right.
This is my point of contention with you.
You're right. So my only point of contention. My only point of contention with you is like, as young men, at least, you know what I'm saying. I guess I can understand this as an older man, since I'm kind of like on the in between now at 33.
Sure.
But I got kind of understand this. But as young men, bro, like, you really shouldn't be giving a fuck about what that means to them, like, at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they don't give a fuck about what it means to you at all. I promise you that. Like, you really should not give a fuck what it means to them at all. You should be thinking about.
I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. My point of contention, obviously.
Yeah, and I think
you know what I'm saying.
I think when you get a few, because I honestly, I'm gonna say this respectfully. Honestly, at 33, I'd expect you to have a different perspective, right?
No, I feel you. That's why I say I'm kind of like in between. I understand where you come from.
Yeah,
you know
because
what I'm saying? I understand that.
The deal.
But what I'm saying is, let's say you're 33 and you still don't got, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still not all the way there. Like, you're not on your own, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, like, you at an underachieving job, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, like, whatever the case may be. What, like, you're just not there. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that you should be worried about how a woman makes you feel. That's
Nope.
that's all I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I misunderstood you. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. If you're saying, you know, I thought you were saying something completely different, bro. Yeah, I hear you. You should be focused on building yourself up and not focused on the woman. But
Nah, one more thing. So I think what we had like a
Final
little bit
point,
was,
Thomas.
I was joking. I was saying, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's you know how they say it's truth in jokes or whatever. But
Yeah.
I was joking, and I was saying, like, yeah, I don't hate feminism because shit, it brings horse. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was
really?
saying. That's where we went off. You know what I'm saying?
No, you good.
I
I just wanted to unpack that a little bit more. Look at
Yeah.
Shan.
Well, there
Shan
you
want to
have
jump
it.
in so
do you
bad.
disagree? I'm out.
No, I think
I'm out.
I don't.
out. But do you disagree? Do you disagree? Do feminism bring horse?
I think the wave where the sexual revolution definitely brought whores.
That's bullshit.
With more whores, and all the pimps got happy.
All right, bring on our last caller. What's going on, Black David?
Yeah, Black David. Let's go.
Oh man, I see you with the. What, you got a curve? You got a curve link on? What's that?
No, that's my gunner glasses because
No, not the glasses. I'm talking about.
that link,
No,
that
I'm
Cuban
talking about
link.
the Cuban link right there.
No, that's a t-shirt.
Is
That's
it?
a Canadian link.
Got him.
Canadian link.
Hey,
Yeah, I was feeling for shit.
Hey, I was to say you got that shining, brother. I'm like, man, I thought you had the BMF on there. I thought that was. I'm like, man.
No, he got
I was
Death Row on there. That's a
I was
Death Row
feeling for
shine.
Shannon when they got made that statement. I was like, oh my god, I hope he not go down that route again because it threw me off.
I see you shining, Black David. I see you. Fucking
But
hurt
real
me, man.
talk, I enjoyed this conversation you guys had. You have some real deep conversation about women over talking men, about the content creator purpose. What I feel is like you guys, now that you have what they call a king talk, it's more like a king council. From where I'm seeing it. You're changing wisdom, you're changing understanding, you're sharpening yourself. There's a term called iron sharpening iron. When you're doing that, you're bringing your point of view and your experience to light. Even though everyone have different path they take, but doesn't mean that everybody is wrong or everybody right. You have a certain amount of experience that can enlighten another person and they can learn from that. When I grew up in my country for 7 years, I had to hang around most of the elder. They are powerful men in society. They'll be like coming in like maybe 5 or 10. They have the good conversation, but you never see the woman there. The woman go to another section of the house and have their conversation. Now, some of us, we were trying to hide and peep and see what they're talking about, so we can catch game and get them to understand what they're talking about. They will either talk about politics, they've been talking about business, they've been talking about certain move the government going to take, that they had their hand on it, or they will talk about relationship or family. But every now and then, I learned something from them about how they conduct themselves, how they carry themselves. And I watch it from time to time. You never see the men argue among themselves. One guy speaking, another guy to keep quiet and they take note. If they disagree with that individual, they come back and say, I don't think what you're saying is totally correct, but this is what I think it is. But at the same time, I realize it's very, very powerful. What you guys are doing right now is something very big. I do listen to you guys. I listen to Kevin Samuel, I listen to Anton, I listen to a few other people, including O'Shea Jackson. What I would say is that this is very needed because not a lot of guys are taking their time out and share their personal experience and their view. I'm happily married, 12 years being married. I'm a father and a grandfather. So I fully understand what my uncle taught me, what my relative taught me. Because normally, before I got married, I was asking guys who were 20 years in their marriage, 30 years in their marriage, what it takes to be married and happily married. What do they do to make sure it lasts? What are the do and don'ts? What I should never do after men. And I realized they tell me the same exact thing. You have to be humble. You cannot be a dictator in your household. You got to be open minded, willing to listen. Not all the time you're right. You could be wrong, but be willing to be humble enough to accept it. And I take that to the heart. Same thing in the barbershop. They have that thing kind of conversation. There's some barbershop I go to, they have the sign no cursing. You can speak your view, but you cannot curse. And I understand why they did that. They're trying to bring some kind of level of integrity in their conversation. Not trying to degrade anybody whatsoever. I feel like it's being missing, but what you got brought in here, it's heavily needed. As an African person, some of us, we don't watch YouTube. We hang out with our peers. We hang out with other people who like to discuss situations. But for African American people, not everybody have the same people that people from cultural background have. Because many times I may have brought that topic whereby let the men counsel among themselves. We cannot come in and dictate how they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to act, which is very true. So when I see a woman overtalk a man, 9 out of 10, when I was told back in my country, when a woman overtalk their men, it showed a lack of wisdom and insight. They may think they know what they're talking about, but it doesn't mean they understand what they're doing. A woman who's soft spoken and have a gentle way of addressing her views, she showed a sign of wisdom and understanding and insight. She know how to talk to her husband. She know how to get him to do the thing that she required him to do without raising her voice, without being disrespectful. Those kind of women are considered powerful women. And I've seen that growing up. They never raised their voice at all. They're always soft spoken. When she about to say something, I don't understand it how it is, but you ever been in a room when people trying to talk and you want to say something to say to somebody and everybody's dead silent? No one make a noise whatsoever. She was like, honey, the food ready for you guys. And while she was talking, nobody said a word. It was dead silent. These are powerful men having a conversation. The host wife came in to let her know, the food is ready. Whenever you're ready, you leave the food. And but before she even thought, they kept quiet. When she done, they got back into the conversation. And I'm like, whoa, you don't see that every day. You don't see that anymore. Not to mention, yeah, women think they can overtalk a man and think that they're showing their femininity. I don't think you're showing your femininity. You think that you have balls. Old school saying in Brooklyn, when a woman come at you like that, that means she telling that she have bigger balls than you. And I be taking that thing as a joke and roasting people every now and then when I get a chance. When a woman come at me, I say, you got more balls? Okay, that's fine. You could take the heat then. Then when it comes to the fight, I can defend you then. They look at me like, hey, want to be masculine? Fine. I'm just gonna let you know. If I'm going to whip your head, I'm gonna sit down with my popcorn, my ice cream, and enjoy the show. And I'm not lifting the fingers. I'm not defending you. I'm not helping you out. Cause when you do, I say, okay, equal opportunity, right? That's fine. I'm just gonna chill and enjoy the show. Everybody look at me like I'm crazy. I say, no, 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 no. I don't follow society norm. I follow what it's being proven from generation to generation to generation. Every generation did a new mentality, a new ideology. They're trying to prove their point. But at the end of the day, it falls flat.
Mm-hmm.
I would stick to something that had strong foundation that have been passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
Willa, I treat like my brother. Even though you use me for joke, I don't care. I'm used to the jokes.
Me
We
too,
do that in
Black
our
David.
country.
Me too.
We do that in our country. We're trying to have fun because you realize this type of environment is needed. It don't have it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Kevin Samuel, he the godfather because it's funny stuff he been saying.
You said Kevin who?
Kevin Samuel. I got a heavy accent. Sorry about that. What Kevin Samuel have been saying for
Samuel.
years.
Okay.
It been said for years, which you don't hear much no more. How we put an act as men. We can't act with our pants sagging or we dragging ourselves or we don't know how to conduct or we don't know how to walk properly. Those are the things that I was taught at youth. It needs to be brought back to the generation. What Shannon was saying, what Chicago was saying, I was doing it before in my younger days without YouTube to reach out to the youth. And I see it does a lot. But after a while, you may feel like, am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? If not, I got to pull myself back. There was a time I was doing it without thinking about my own life and thinking what I was doing to myself. And I realized I was not helping myself. They're the saying that you can't help others if you can't help yourself at all. And I realized if I don't have a circle to hold me accountable, I can't do no such thing. So I took a break from that for years, for a while. Now I start by again because I have certain people I can talk to and act it. If I'm saying the wrong thing, let me know. As a father, as a grandfather, I put my son every other day, put him to the side. My job as a father to make you better than me. My job to make you surpass me. Where I am right now, I expect you to be 10 times better than me. So I'm not going to allow you to slack off. I do the same to my daughter. I don't care what anybody say.
Oh, you got
But
final
if
thoughts,
you
Canadian?
what I'm trying to say is this: what you guys are doing, it's heavily needed, and I appreciate it. JR, Chicago, sure, I respect you. Shannon, you had that old school wisdom. I can see that from you every day. Every time I hear you talk, I'm like, this guy need to be here permanent. He had that what
There
they
you
call
go.
old school wisdom. It's
Yeah,
heavily
it's
needed.
OG.
Because if we don't have someone like him or Kevin Samuel, I don't know what to say for you guys. Because you need people like that
There
have
you
that
go.
solid gem that
Absolutely.
lasts forever.
I
Other than
agree.
that, I appreciate my Nigerian brother. We keep having
Thank
that. Chicago, I'm still waiting for you to come to Brooklyn
you.
to end that jollof rice
Hey,
beef.
really, we gotta take a trip to New York, man.
Yeah, we definitely gotta do that. We pulling
Yeah.
up the Buka.
You better
Yeah.
you better do that because you
Yeah,
try
we
to book
pulling
a
up the
restaurant,
Buka.
you gonna love it.
Hey,
And after that, no more Ghana
Canadian
talk.
Nigerian. I'm gonna let you know now. Our first stop gonna be Houston as far as the tour.
No problem.
It's gonna be in the spring,
Gotta
so
hit
make sure
turkey
you pop
leg
up.
up, man.
Yeah.
No problem. When you come to Brooklyn, I'll let you know.
All right.
All right?
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
I gotta get one of them turkey legs with some crawfish on it or something, man.
Yeah, I gotta show y'all the sites, man. I
You
gotta
like
show
it.
y'all the
Trust me.
sites.
Man, I
I
can't
gotta
wait.
prove my main. I gotta prove my
Come
main
with
when I go down there,
come with an
man.
empty stomach.
Yeah,
Come with an empty stomach, I promise you.
I got you.
You get hungry.
All right, man. We see you, Black David. Thanks again for the support.
Peace to Black
Yeah,
David.
Appreciate you.
anytime.
Yeah. Hey, before we get off, man, make sure you guys follow Shan right there. Make sure y'all follow him. Can y'all see that? There you go. Yeah, Shannon Rawls. Make sure you guys go check him out on YouTube. And let me bring up Crew Season real quick. To make sure you guys go follow them
Hey
brothers
Shan, what's
too.
that link for your clothing line? Can you put that in the private chat real quick?
Which one? The t-shirts that I wear?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Crew Season
Yeah.
right there. Make sure y'all go check out Crew Season too. There you go. Make sure y'all show these brothers some love, man. For you guys in the chat and that's watching, thank you guys for tuning in to King Talk. Thanks for all the super chats that came through, all the subscriptions. We do have memberships that are open, so make sure you guys hit the join button. Special perks are coming from the members. I promise you guys that. And thank y'all for tuning in, man. It's been a great show, and I always got to thank the panel, man. Without you guys, it wouldn't be what it is right now. So thanks again. I can't thank you guys enough. And until next time, if you do celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys celebrate peacefully, and make sure you guys eat correctly, man. Make sure y'all don't overdo it. Until next time, man. We out. We out.
Peace.
All right, y'all.
All right, bro.
All right. Last song, y'all. Last song. Next up, last song. Hit that like button on the way out. Definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Lapeef, Let's Talk is on Thursday. We are going live on Thanksgiving. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to Lapeef King Talk. It was a great show tonight. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. Also, shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. Make sure you guys pick up that. It's in the link. I dropped it. I'll drop it again for you guys. Get that gift, man. Uncomplicated skincare for men. We gotta make sure we take care of our skin. As man, if you want your man looking good, make sure you guys get that Tej Hanley, man. They might just shooting out the commercial, man. Y'all playing. That's the link right there in the chat. Shout out to Tej Hanley. Make sure you guys get that uncomplicated skincare for men. Yeah. Time flying. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville.
What?
Shout out to Jonathan Berryville. Shout out to Sherelle. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville and Sherelle. HR in the building, we got to get Sherelle. HR, you in the building? We got to get Sherelle, man. Got to get Sherelle. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville. Oh, shit. My nigga. Shout out to Jonathan Berryville.
Hello, motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Hello, motherfucker.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Hello, motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker.
There you guys have it, man. Oh shit, I ain't mean to play that over again. My bad. Appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight, man. It's been great. King Talk was phenomenal. I actually enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I took some notes. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. We are live streaming on Thursday for you guys. So once you guys get them bellies full, tune in at 7:30 Central Time for Lapeef Let's Talk. Shout out to Rilla, man. I see you out there, man. Shout out to HR too. Jonathan Berryville, appreciate you. As always, Sherelle, thank you for holding it down as normal. Man, I'm excited, you guys.